Alright guys, I want to start a little bit with like a little card reveal on now all the classes, as now everything has been revealed. We can now take a very good look guys on all what has been revealed so far. To start with, I want to start here with Darood, and Darood here has a lot of like new cards that are quite interesting, so a very good one to start with. The first one, Garden Gnome. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, summon 2/2/2 trance. 5 mana 2/3, summoning 2 more. It's like kind of, has definitely like potential. It is a battle cry, so it's not like a choose one, but doesn't really fit in the new archetype of, let's say, everything together in a Druid deck, with the quest. Pretty decent token card. The 5 mana card that you can of course hold is, you can hold like the twin spell, the Forest 8. What is a very good card if you want to play this card in Token Druid. Probably where it fits the most. If the card is going to get played, it's probably getting played in Token Druid. Oh wow, this is not working? Oh my god. Why does next go to... Oh, now it's working? No, it's not. Oh god. Oh god. What is this Blizzard? Why am I going to Mage and then... Oh god. I'm just gonna do it then by this. Crystallize a Merchant. If you have any unspent mana at the end of your turn, draw a card. Just don't use arrows, yeah. 2 mana 1/4. If you have any unspent mana, draw a card. Pretty solid. As 2 mana 1/4 draw a card is of course super strong. It's not something you really like just want to play at turn 2, but it can be a very good turn 3 turn. It's also an end of the turn effect, so it has like more potential to go on. Refresh works? Okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I feel I'm getting debated, but maybe you guys are pros. You guys are! It works! Oh my god, you guys are the best. I never doubt you ever again. If you have any unspent mana, draw a card. Pretty decent. Pretty solid early draw tool. It's kind of funny that Druid, what Blizzard is kind of doing, this expansion is like, can Druid go with a direction where you don't spend any mana, or like always have like unspent mana left over. The quest is very similar in that. It's kind of a strange approach. You're gonna have some very strange gameplay in this, because suddenly turn 1 you want to pass, and then turn 2 you might not really want to play your... You might just want to like go quest and then play your 1-drop at turn 2, play your 2-drop at turn 3. Well, this makes it kind of a strange game plan, but kind of funny. We'll see how it develops and how good it will be. I think this card can be very good. This card is 2 mana 1/4. At the end of the turn, draw a card. It's very good. It's an ongoing effect. It's kind of a must-kill minion. So, very strong card. Definitely a good card. I think this card is actually very good. I will rate it 4 stars, guys. I think this card is very good. Oasis Surger. 5 mana 3/3. Rush, choose 1, gain +2/+2, or summon a copy of it. Also, once this card is combined with the quest, what doubles the choose 1 effects, you gain both choose 1 effects, and suddenly you have 2 5/5s with a rush both. Pretty good card. I saw this card also a little bit getting played in like a quest Druid once they did their reveal stream, and that's where I saw like the power of this card. Once you have 2 times a 5 mana 5/5 with rush, guys, it's super good. So I think that card is very promising actually, this one. If there is a choose 1 card deck that works, this card is going to be super important. It's one of the cards that makes sure you have enough refill all the time. And that you also have like win condition. So I think this card is like super key. I really like this card. I think it's a 4-star card. I think this card, if the quest route pops up and if it turns out to be a good deck, this is one of the cards why. Worthly Expedition. 1 mana, discover a choose 1 card. The range of choose one cards is still very wide. You have a lot of choose one cards that are like early game based, but also a lot of cards like late game based. Let's say Ancient of Lore, Ancient of War. What do you have more? Nourish. All these kind of more late game based cards. But there is also quite like here and there some early game cards. 1 mana discover a choose one card. I think is a little bit weak for the options you're getting. There might be spots where, yeah, you really want to have that ref, you really want to have the other removals. Let's say you want the 1 mana heal. I think the problem is though that then just play these cards. Like, why do you want? I just look for the option. Why do I want to play Worthy Expedition over the choose one cards that I can already choose? There's of course maybe a little option if you want to like cycle with, let's say, Gadgets and Auctioneer or anything. But for me the problem is really in that I don't see enough value that the discover of the choose one card is really beneficial for you. If you can just play the cards that you want to play as the choose one cards. So as long as that's kind of a problem, and I think there are just a bit too many bad hits. Like if you hit a Norris, if you hit an Ancient of War, Ancient of Lore, they all feel kind of off in whatever game plan you have. So I think this is like I would kind of rate it as an. I mean, it will not be a very. It definitely has like potential. It's a very cheap card. We'll rate it 2 stars. My review, guys, is based on standard, by the way. Just so you know. 7 mana, Overflow, restore 4 health to all characters, draw 5 cards. Well, what do we have here, guys? Such a strange and hard card to review. How good is this Overflow gonna be? I love the art, by the way, of this card. Did I say 4? Sorry, draw 5. My excuses. Restore 5 to everything and then draw 5 to all characters, draw 5 cards. So already just 7 mana, draw 5 is very good. 7 mana, heal 5, like even like let's say, guys, I'm not even on the board. And I just play a 7 mana, heal 5, draw 5. It kind of reminds me of Moonglade Portal in the way of healing in that way. Or just, it kind of reminds me of Ultimate Devastation, of course. Like, just heal 5, draw 5. Will I play that for 7 mana? I might actually play that. Like, I don't mind 7 mana for draw 5 and then like heal 5. Such a strong draw tool. Darood, of course, is very heavy already in draw. So there will be spots where it is like a little bit negative, maybe with the all. It's obviously gonna get played more in a defensive Darood. Let's say a Lusenbark Darood, Control Darood, Melee Darood, whatever, but more control based. And we know how strong UI used to be. Like what I think is that actually there might be potential now for a late game Darood deck to come back again. Just play your Nourish and then just ramp into Overflow, draw 5 cards. Like, it's kind of the old school Ultimate Infestation that might like have the most potential here with this. The card is very good. There's no way this card is bad. It's just like Darood is maybe not in the greatest spot. So maybe Darood just can't handle this card. But the card overall itself, this card is very good. I will rate it 4 stars. It's a very good card. Anabish Defender, 5 mana 3/5. Taunt cost 0 if you have cast a spell that cost 5 or more this turn. Really reminds me on Arcane Tyrant, but then just a better form. Because Arcane Tyrant was super strong. It was a neutral card, but it got played like in mainly Druid and Mage, and it got played a lot because whenever cards cost 0 mana, guys, they are good. Let's say that out of experience. If you can make a card cost 0 in a very reasonable way, they are just good. It's very broken to do things for 0 mana. And especially when you can play a 0 mana 3/5 with Taunt. You're just playing Ascension, Shieldmaster for free. By playing Overflow, by playing Nourish, by playing Starfall, by just something. So this card is nuts. It's a super good card. It's exactly what Darood needs as well. Play their spells that are very good, that are expensive. but also not losing too much on board. And this card is better than Arcane Tyrants because it has Taunt. It's pretty nice. Instead of a 4/4, then you have like Taunt for 3/5. The mana cost of this card doesn't matter too much because it's kinda, you play this card for the effect of the cost 0. It's a very good card, guys. It's an auto include in any late game like Druid deck. Maybe even Token Druids are gonna think about this card. You know what I'm gonna rate it, guys? 5 stars. Super strong card. Next up, Hidden Oasis. Choose one. Summon a 6/6 Ancient with Taunt. Or restore 15 health. So this is like a super late game choose one effect. Obviously, keep this card a little bit in mind with the quest, or like choose one effects are now a little bit more combinable. What makes the review a little bit different on these kind of cards. Oh, did I say 15? I mean 12. 15 is 12, guys. Come on. It's in a way a little bit clunky, but 6 mana 6/6 is not too bad with Taunt. This is this is like a card that is like kind of decent. I'm just thinking, do you want to run this card in your main deck? It doesn't seem like very appealing to run this in your main deck. It's kind of strange to like, I mean, you want to play this to get both of the effects going, what kind of works well in quest, but also in a quest druid deck, it might just not matter that you restore 12 health and you just play it as a 6/6 Ancient with Taunt. What still is not that great. This is not a card you're gonna play in Lucenbark. It's way too clunky. It's way too expensive for the cost. It just doesn't fit there. You need cheap heal effects and get more Lucenbark going. The Lucenbark doesn't care about the 6/6 Ancient, as you can already generate Lucenbark. So why is this that great? I think I will rate it 2 stars. There is potential here, but it mainly then has to be in like the choose one deck in combination with the quest. And next up, guys, it is Elise. Elise the Enlightenment. 5 mana 5/5. If your deck has no duplicates, duplicate your hand. Little bit of a hard card to review. Elise is also kind of interesting, as it is an Highlander card, a card you want to play in kind of a non-duplicate deck. But what you can maybe also do in Druid is that you still kind of play duplicates, have a very heavy cycle deck, and then just play Elise once you're very empty in your deck to, like, let's say copy a Malygos or copy anything like super strong. I'm a little bit worried about Elise in the way that just the current Druid status. Is Druid gonna have like a good enough deck to make like a consistent card out of this deck? But it's a very cool card. It also has a very good stat line itself, so I think it's very nice in that way. And maybe now with Druid, it got some quite decent tools, so maybe there is a way for it to make work. I will rate it 3 stars for now. Also, there's still a little bit my worry on these Highlander decks, guys, that there are decks that might just like play bombs, and that bombs can wreck you. I'm still worried. I just hope I'm incorrect, but I'm a little worried that Bomb Warrior, let's say, will just be too good and it will kind of lock cards out like this. But 3 stars. Bees, chat. It's time for the bees. Three mana bees. Choose a minion. Summon 4/1/1 bees that attack it. Very interesting card, as it is kind of a 3 mana summon 4/4 instead, but also able to kind of give them rush. That's what you're doing here. You summon 3 mana 4/4 rush in a like token way. What is kind of good, of course, in like a deck like Token Druid. Interesting mechanic is also that even if your opponent doesn't have a board, there is the consideration that you can play this on your own minion. At least that's how I read it. You can play this card on your own minion and then just summon 4/1/1s, I think. I'm not sure if they will attack your own minion. Kind of strange way. I don't think so, but there is like a little bit of like interaction that I'm not completely sure, but I see this as like choose a minion, that you can play this on your own minion. And I don't know if the bees are gonna attack your own minion after as well. Maybe they actually do. So, okay, they do. But there is that consideration if your opponent kind of wants to play around it, what might be important. Let's say you play also death rattle cards. The egg, you kill an egg. Maybe that works as well, very good. Attack Acolyte, something like that. There are quite good synergies. I think egg is also a very good synergy. If you kill like a 0-2 off, you actually want it. So there's a lot of also that kind of synergy that I think got a little bit underappreciated on this card, or not really mentioned. I also like the way that it just works in Token Druid. It just summons a lot. It's a 3 mana 4/4 in a way, so it just summons a lot. It's a very good card. I like this card a lot. I also really like the design of the card. I will give it 4 stars. It's a very good card. And now, guys, we are talking about the quest Untapped Potential. End 4 turns without any unspent mana. Reward Oasis tier is your choose 1 cards have both effects combined. The quest, and when I also saw a little bit of the gameplay of this quest is very easy to complete. Sorry. Having 4 turns with unspent mana is actually very easy. You can turn 1, play the quest coin. Turn 2, pass. Turn 3, hero power, you're already 3-4. And your turns haven't been that insane, sure. But it's very easy to get through the early game with this and just get the quest done. So this quest you almost every time I think will get completed at turn 4 or 5, depending on the coin. And then you already have the bonus effect of the choose 1. I think this is a little bit of what the meta will be about if this quest will be good. If the meta will be about aggro, I see a lot of potential where the double choose 1 is very good. If the deck will be more based on, let's say, late game decks, very control heavy, the choose 1 effects don't seem to have like enough win condition or something that like really locks the game down, and that's a bit my worry. So I will rate the Druid quest. I think the Druid quest is very good. I will rate it 4 stars. But I think if there's a control meta, it's going to be very not... There needs to be something else in Druid. Maybe there is a hybrid way you can make this deck, because it's a very cheap quest. It's very easy to complete, and it makes still able to get yourself a lot of space. Like, I don't even have to play one other card, guys, in my deck to complete this quest. It just completes it automatically. So that's what I think about what is so broken about this quest. I don't do anything and I complete the quest. So the benefit that you then get might just already be enough. And that was Darood, chat. That was Darood. What do you guys think of Darood? Are you happy with the cards of Darood? How do you feel about Darood? Let's do that first. What do you feel about Darood, guys? I feel Darood got quite some decent cards. Decent card, good card. Good card, very good card, very good card, pretty good card. Will it be enough? That's my question. Alright, let's go next. Let's go next. And the next class, guys, is Hunter. It's time to see what Hunter is gonna get. What is the direction of the Hunter? Rampakin, Wild Teamer. Copy a random beast in your hand. 3 mana 4/3. Well, it's very strong stat line for a card in general. With a positive battle cry of copying a random beast in your hand. Pretty good, actually. I mean, just the stat line of this card is very good. It's a very aggressive card, what fits Hunter. I think the copy of a random beast is kind of something you want to hit on cheap minions. Let's say Springpaw, Hyena, maybe Timberwolf, maybe... But very cheap cards. I am a little bit worried that the card is not a beast itself. And the current Hunter decks are so made around beasts, and so also made around Master Skull in a way, that I think that it doesn't have like the context of not being a beast. It's kind of the same as Houndmaster at the moment. It just doesn't fit the deck at the moment, and that's my worry. So I think I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna rate it like 2 stars for Constructed. I just don't see any way this gets played, even though it's a good card. For example, in Arena, I would rate this card 4 stars, if I would say. But there is just, I think, no way, even though the card is good, in Constructed, to see this play. It just doesn't have an archetype where this will be good enough to run. Oh, it's a good stat line though. 2.5. Hyena Alpha. We are getting the hyenas back, guys. 4 mana 3/3. Battle Cry. If you control a secret, summon 2/2/2 hyenas. Is that a 4 mana 7/7, guys? Wait. 4 mana 3/3. Battle Cry. If you control a secret, summon 2 hyenas. And it's a beast. Whoa. I haven't seen this card, guys. If you control a secret, so play secret turn 2, turn 3. This card gotta be good, right? I mean, I'm thinking if... I mean, this gotta be like, let's say you play Red Trap a secret that kinda gets hard to pop as well. And then you play this, and then you have turn 4 a board of a 3/3 and 2/2/2s. It might be a little bit weaker than, like, let's say a 4 mana 7/7, because some things are very easy to trade away. But this card gotta be solid, guys. It's probably a deck that you fit in a more aggro hunter. Because this card is kind of a deck you want to, like, smork with. Or you want to play this deck in a smork deck, because you don't want to trade. You want your opponent to trade all these things. Ooh, I think this card gotta be good, guys. I'm just not sure how we're gonna see it. Yeah, this gotta be a good card. In like a secret hunter deck, play the 2 mana 3/4, play a lot of secrets, play this. I like this card. I give it 4 stars. It's a card you're gonna play in a deck with that plays secret, that plays secret keeper, that plays the 2 mana 3/4, that plays subject 9. Kind of they're a deck, and they're like with a hybrid, just putting a lot of stats on the line, what you kind of do with the other cards as well, is where you want to play it. It's a pretty good card. The Alpha Hyena, guys, the true hyena. Next up, Swamp of the Locust, 6 mana, summon 7 1/1 Locust with Rush. We haven't gone through the quest yet of the Hunter, but to give you a little bit of insight, the quest of the Hunter is that once you played 20 minions, or once you summoned 20 minions, the quest completes. And this summons, of course, 7 1/1s, what kind of makes it 7/20 in a way. A bit important for this card. Summon 7 1/1 Locust with Rush. Kind of 6 mana, just 7/7 Rush in a way, but then in a better way of like splitting it, so you can like more like combine it in a different way. I am a little bit worried about this card because it's just like a little bit of an honorable card. It feels kind of Unleashed to me, but just worse, because it costs so much more. It's sometimes you just have a minion on the board that is just not gonna die. I mean, there might just be a random 3/3 that you can't trade off, and then it's also, or a Death Rattle minion, and then you will always summon 6 or 5/1 Locust because your board is full. So I just feel this is an Unleash in a worse way. I don't really like the card. It's kind of too expensive to me. Hunter also has very good rush mechanics. It's just too clunky. Hunter just doesn't like 6 mana cards. It's just not what Hunter wants, and it especially doesn't like 6 mana cards once they are also not being able to charge and they have rush. Like, if I compare this to Unleash, guys, it's a lot worse. You can talk about the argument of Revenge of the Wild and resummon everything, but then just play Unleash with Revenge of the Wild. It doesn't feel good enough. I don't like this card. I give it 2 stars. Also with Soldian, guys, the card is actually more negative probably than positive. Hyena buff, I know, but again the argument, guys, it's just a way worse Unleash. It's a very expensive card, and the combinations you do with Hunter you can do much better. Alright, guys, and here's the Hunter quest. The Hunter quest, Unseal the Vault, summon 20 minions, as I just talked about. Reward Remcorin Roar. 2 mana, give your minions +2 attack. I'm not sure if it is me, but this quest just seems very bad to me. Like, summon 20 is such a high number. Like, sure, there are token cards like Unleash and like all this stuff, and you get the number up faster and faster. But also the reward of this card is just not so great. Like, give your minions +2 attack. It's kind of like the basic hero counter of a hunter. Like, deal 2 damage if you have like 1 minion that can hit the face. Of course, there's a bit more synergy, but this one, there's not... 2 mana give +2 attack is not necessarily that great. I don't know if that also would work in like a control hunter. Because I know it's a permanent one. But I don't know, guys. I feel... Don't forget, when you are playing a quest deck, you also start the game with 1 less card. It's something that people very underestimate. But if you play this card, you also start your game with just 1 less card in your hand, and your options are a bit more limited. I know it is all minions, guys. But still, like, I'm kind of thinking of like how often are you gonna have a full board of minions? And sure, you can play a lot of token cards, and it's very strong. But the quest is... This quest is not gonna come down. You will not complete this quest before turn 8. At best. At best, I think. I don't see how you do it before turn 9, maybe even. And then you get your minions +2 attack. Ooh. I am not a big fan of this card. I give it... let's be nice. I give it 2 stars. I think this is probably the worst quest. I don't think this quest is very reasonable, doable for the reward you're getting. Desert Spear. 3 mana, 1/3. After your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 locust with Rush. So basically also fitting a little bit that like summon archetype again. So it summons like 3 little tokens. 3 mana, 1/3 weapon that summons 3/3 instead a bit. It's a little bit of a too defensive hero defensive card for me. Whatever Blizzard will print, Control Hunter will not work. And a big reason for that is just the hero power. It has a hero power that just does nothing on the board. It doesn't control anything on the board. So with no healing and with no good hero power to control the board, Control Hunter is just not the way to go. Hunter will always be aggro or mid-range till that can be a thing. It's a decent value card. So you can play this card. It's very solid as like, oh, you trade a little tokens away, you summon. So in that way, I still see this card having potential in like a mid-range deck. It summons quite a bit. It summons 3/3 in total of this, what is very reasonable. I will give it 2 stars. I suppose the locusts are also beast, by the way, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. 2 mana, Pressure Plate. Secret, after your opponent casts a spell, destroy a random minion. What is this gonna be an annoying secret, guys, to play around? Now every time a hunter has a secret up, like, it doesn't even matter if this is like in the deck or not. You always have to keep it in mind now. It's kind of like the cruising walls of be like, hey Thijs, you didn't play around Precious Plate. Or it's a very... like, after your opponent casts a spell, destroy a random minion. This is such an impactful, like, effect. I think the card is also, like, pretty good in a way. As, like, it's so powerful of the way. And what I kind of like is, Hunter has secrets that deal with the board, that deal with, like, your own face. Like, there is punish on hitting face. There is punish on hitting the board. But there wasn't any punish on playing a spell. And now there is. What reminds me of Cat Trick. So I think there is a lot of like extra. This is adding much more just by existing already. And I think like with decks like Conjurer's Mage in the meta, a card like this is obviously very strong. Play it in combination with Red Trap and mages never really know what to do anymore. Can be a very good counter as well to Conjurer's Mage, a deck like this. So it's not as good as Cat Trick in my opinion. I think Cat Trick was much better. But by existing, I think this card's pretty good. I give it... I will give it 3 stars, this card. I think it's a pretty solid card, but at the end, guys, it's a secret. People are able to play around it, and it might just never really pop. Against some classes, it's kind of dead. So it's in the middle for me. Hunting Pack. Add a 3 mana, add a random hunter, beast, secret, and weapon to your hand. Basically, 3 mana, not draw 3, but get 3 cards. The randomness of beast, secret, and weapon is also like, some are not like completely random. The beast is super random. Hunter beast, it's still pretty random, but secrets and weapons, I mean, how many weapons do we have in Hunter? I think we had 3 and now there's 1 more weapon out. So I think we have 4. With the Eagle Horn Bow, the 2 mana weapon, and the 7 mana 5/2 weapon. So there is like not that much range in that way. Secrets kind of the same. It's just like, where do you want to play this card? It obviously gets played in a non-beast hunter deck that doesn't rely on Master Call, because you have Master Call and that's like better. But maybe in like a deck like, I don't know, Secret Hunter, that just needs a little bit more gas, and then you get an extra secret, a weapon that can go phase and on beast, and you just hope it's a good beast. So I think there's like value in that one. It's just hard to have like a card that is like having so much randomness to see played in Constructed. It's a great arena card. It's probably amazingly strong in arena. But this card in a Constructed deck where you can play a lot of power cards and you kind of rely on very randomness draws in general is not good. So I will, for Constructed, I'm rating it 2 stars. I am Future Thijs. The next card is good. Alright, let's take a look. Scarlet Webweaver, 6 mana 5/5. Spiders are coming, chat. Battlecry, reduce the cost of a random beast in your hand by 5. 6 mana 5 reduce. So this is a combo card, guys. This is not a card you play in any hunter deck. I am not sure if there are any good combos you can do with this card. I'm thinking if there's like a way you can like do something with King Crush or... Yeah, the Amaris is not even a beast, it's actually a dragon. Like, let's say you get this on a high main. Would you even be happy? I mean, it kind of is a power creep, right? Because instead of high main, at turn 7, you play this, it's a battle cry, and you slam the high main. And you kind of cheat in a bit of a 5/5. It's a beast itself, very big deal that it is a beast. I don't think if cards are not having the tag of beast, it really doesn't fit Hunter. It just doesn't synergy with Master Call, but it's such a big deal. Thunder Rhino is a good example. Well, it's very good. It's a good card. It's a decent card. I'm just not sure if Hunter can go this late game. The current Hunter that goes kind of fast is so strong. But maybe a card like this has the potential to get it back, because it's a power creep kinda, and you like cheat mana, and cheating mana is good. So I like this card. If this card would have like at the end of the turn, I would not like this card. But because this card has Battle Cry, I like it. I will. It's a 3-star card for me. And next up, Wild Blood Springer or Blood Stinger, 6 mana, 6/9. Beautiful stat line we got here, guys. Summon a minion from your opponent's hand. Attack it. Well, we kind of got our Dirty Red back. The Dirty Red guys of the expansion. You play Nomi, let me pull your Nomi out of the hand. You play OTK Mage or play Antonidas, let me get your Antonidas. You are having a Darood combo there. Oh, don't worry, your Mecha Katoon is gone. So, cool card. Cool card. Especially... Like, I don't know how good this is going to be in Hunter in general, but like the stat line of this card is very good, guys. 6 mana, 6/9 is a very good stat line. You kind of can maybe like... especially against like combo decks, get it on the board, but also in other matchups, especially in aggro matchups and token matchups, you just play it, it attacks like, let's say it attacks a 3/3. Well, then you still have a 6 mana 6/6 on the board. So just a little bit of an example where I think, and also against like, all the I feel there's a lot of Battle Cry in this meta. Look at, let's say, Bomb Warrior. It just plays only Battle Cries, Dino-Medic, Omega Devastator, all the early bomb cards, and also all other cards except Mage. But all other decks, they play so many Battle Cries, what are very strong cards but have a little bit limited stat line. I think it's a very good card. I like this card a lot. I think it's a very solid card overall that doesn't need much support. You can just play it in your Hunter deck. It's maybe not completely fitting all the current archetypes, but I think it can go more late game. I will rate it 4 stars. The card has a good stat line for me. I think the effect is very good and even insane against like some matchups. This card can win you some matchups, but it's also fine in other matchups. What is very important in Constructed. So I give it 4 stars. And here we have Dino Tamer Bran, guys. He is here. The Highlander card for Hunter. And Bran sitting on that beautiful King Crush there. 7 mana, 2/4. If your deck has no duplicates, summon King Crush. So can a Highlander Hunter deck ever work? We got one more card now that we will go to later. What is a super strong card for a Highlander deck. It's a 2 mana card, 3/2. What kind of, I will talk about this later, but to give a little bit of summary, that can kind of make you the best spell possible on that turn. So it is of course nice for 7 mana to cheese in a King Crush, but do you want to limit yourself towards a deck that only plays one-offs? Like, playing only one-offs is a pretty big punishment because some cards are very good. And now you kind of can only play all your cards as one-offs. And for that, you have Bran that can summon the King Crush. I'm a little worried about that. Like, King Crush is also not really a card you really want to play in your deck. Even for 7 mana 8/8, yeah, then it's kind of good. And this is also a 2/4. It is very comparable, this card, to Janalai, in my opinion. But the problem is that the punish is higher. Like, I cannot play 2-offs in my deck. What just hurts. Yeah, I don't think this card is... I think it's the weakest Highlander card. I will rate it 2 stars. I don't see it. I just feel especially in Hunter... The punish of not playing 2-offs is higher than in any other class. Because you cannot play control style. There is no healing. There is not a hero power that supports it. So, I just don't like expensive Hunter cards. It just never really works. If there are expensive Hunter cards, it will work with the cards we just saw. I'm thinking if there is a Battle Cry Hunter deck able to work. Because all cards, guys... are Battle Cries in Hunter. But there's no, like, benefit on that, right? You don't have a Bran. They didn't print a neutral card that says, like, your Battle Cries are doubled or something, right? They didn't. They printed that for Shaman, but not for neutral. So yeah, guys, that is it for Hunter. Hunter got some very, like, kind of out-of-the-box cards. I'm not a fan of this kind of... like, I don't see this gonna be working, guys. The quest and so on. But this is a very good card. Hyena Alpha. Might just be making, like... Secret Hunter is a little bit deck that's under the radar. There are quite a good of aggro cards in the neutral set. So, this card has a lot of potential. I will not rate out the more control-based cards here for Hunter as well. With the Secret Webweaver and Wild Bloodspringer. They have quite some potential. And the Secret is also pretty solid. So, we'll see what Hunter can make, guys. Next up, Mage. We're gonna take a little look at Mage, guys. I'm gonna grab some water. I let you take a little look over these cards here. So you get a little bit of first interaction. And we go here to the Naga Sandwich. Not the Naga Sandwich. Alright, the Naga Sandwich. OPOP. 5 mana, 5/5. Change the cost of a spell in your hand to 5. Box of York. Whoa, the puzzle box cost 5. There are cards like Power of Creation that are like high value, where it can work. Change the cost of spells, so it's kind of all spells. Play this turn 9. Is there a mage that can just play double pyro? You play the Naga, like, let's say on turn 7, 8, 9, and then you just at turn 10, you just double pyro the face. For 20 damage. Turn 10, 20 damage. I don't know. Freeze Mage with this card, I don't know. You just play all your cheap spells early game, then you drop this, and then you just double pyro the face. I am not so sure, but I don't rate this card out, guys. Anytime, again, when you can cheat mana, a card can be good. And that this card has like potential to cheat mana. You can also play double the puzzle box of Yoxeron. I don't know, somehow I like this card. I would give it 3 stars. There's potential, it's a good stat line. It makes quite some potential. So I see potential in this one, in the sandwich. Next up, Dune Sculptor, 3 mana, 3/3. After you cast a spell, add a random mage minion to your hand. A pretty solid card. It kinda is a way of Vexcrow, but instead of summoning the minion, you get the minion. I saw it yesterday being very good on the reveal stream, but don't forget, guys, I don't want to be too rude, but some of the decks they play on the reveal stream are not always as great. And all the value cards that are getting played, they always look OP. And this card is not that OP. It's kind of slow. If I compare this to Vexcrow, this card is quite worse because instead of summoning, you get it in your hand. Of course, there are like the dream cards that are very good to get in your hand. Like, let's say a Caligos, Janalai. But there are a lot of like also meh minions. And also if I compare this to Mana Cyclone, like spells are what you want in Mage. And like there are some solid minions, but having a full hand of like, I don't know, just random minions is not what you want. Of course in Arena, guys, a card like this is always good. But in Constructed, I don't think this card is like better than Vexcrow, what has like an immediate effect on the board. Yeah, I'm also not too sold on Mage minions. I don't know the range exactly on Mage minions. Let me take a short look what also comes out. Like, you don't really wanna... I've already 2 stars. I don't think you want this, guys. Just play Vexcrow. And play Mana Cyclone. Mage has like a full hand all the time with Mana Cyclone. I don't want to have just whatever minions. The range is too wide on this for me. Maybe in Reno Mage you will see it as just a card in the deck. That can actually be. I will rate it 2.5. Maybe in Reno Mage. Ancient Mysteries. 2 mana. Draw a secret from your deck. It costs 0. Ooh. 2 mana. Draw a secret. It costs 0. So you kinda play a secret at turn 2 now for Mage. Also very good in combination with cards that we will see later that benefit from making a secret, but you can now, instead of just playing it here at turn 2, you can also just hold your 0 mana secret in the hand all the time and play it once you want to play a minion that benefits from this. You can also hold it and you get like a guaranteed better value from like, let's say a Mana Cyclone, because you start with this. I like this card. This card is good. This card is quite good. It's also draw a secret from your deck. So it's not like, oh, get a random secret. No, it's a secret that you want. This card is good. It's quite good. Very comparable to Mad Scientist, but then except the body. But that card was also completely busted. It's a very good card, guys. It's a very good card. I will rate it 4 stars. I like this card a lot. Next up, Flame Ward. Secret. After a minion attacks your hero, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. Wow. Deal 30 damage. You wanna go face? Ha ha ha. I deal 3 to everything. Very comparable to Explosive Trap, as it kind of has like a similar way of working. Once somebody attacks your face, then it goes off. It also like then deals damage to enemies, but except of the 3 we deal 2. And I think we can compare this card very well to it. Of course, this is like deal 3 damage, so it has a bit better synergy in some matchups, especially against Rogue. This is way better than Explosive, but has a lot of 3 HP minions. Might have some relevance against Zoo. But there is, of course, guys, always going to be ways that your opponent is just going to trade all your minions away first, and then it goes phase, and then it kind of didn't do that much. But hey, we also did... Oh, it only does to enemy minions. It doesn't deal to opponent's face. That makes it a little worse to me. I mean, obviously this card is very good like against the Zoo, but you can still play around this. What do you mean with after, guys? After a minion attacks your hero. Yeah, that's what I mean. So he can just trade the minions first and then go phase and then it goes off. Oh, and you still take the damage. Ooh, okay. That makes it all a little bit worse and worse. This is not, nah, guys. Secrets like this are not that great. They can, in a lot of matchup, they're just sitting in your, it just sits on the board. And your opponent only pops it when it's the right time. It also doesn't deal phase damage. It's very... Like, there's only the matchups like Zoo and Rogue where I think it's quite good, because there it's very relevant. It might still be a card you want to play in a secret deck or a Reno Mage deck, but it's not the sickest secret. Very comparable in my way to Explosive Trap, but it has a little bit of less payback. I will rate it like 2 stars, guys. I don't... Maybe 2.5. But that's really the max I can give here. Eight mana, Tortellian Pilgrim. Battlecry. Discover a copy of a spell in your deck and cast it with random targets. I like this card. I know a lot of cards will start with this card and say dust. But then I look at this card and I'm like it says cast it with random targets. But of course, guys, in Mage, you can just play cards that are not like that. You can discover a Flame Strike. You can discover a Power of Creation. You can discover the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron when you're looking behind, and suddenly, instead of paying 10 mana for your puzzle box, you pay 8 mana for your puzzle box. It is a discover a copy and cast it. So you don't need to pay the mana, you can just cast it already directly. This card is an 8 mana 5/5, play a spell on your choice. And you can make your deck kind of around this, or like especially in a heavy mage deck. Like target it with random targets you can really play with. Blizzard, Flamestrike, like especially the high removal cards for Mage. AoE removals are very good with this. And it kind of is, it feels like a bit to me playing Flamestrike and summoning an Arcane Tyrant. But then you kind of discover it, so you only pay 1 card instead of 2. You just need this card. I like this card a lot. It's a good card. It's gonna be a card that 100% gets played in Reno Mage. And I don't know if a big mage really can make it. But this card is very strong. It's a very good card. I will rate it 4.5, guys. I'm gonna make a call. It's not a 5-star card. But I really like this card, and I like big mage. So I'm gonna be as close as I can get to that. I really like this card. This card is good. Gotta make some ballsy calls, right? Come on. It's not a like, I rate every card 3 stars, and so. Cloud Prince. 5 mana, 4/4. If you control a secret, deal 6 damage. Just play a fireball, lol. Oh my god. I mean, I don't know how good Secret Mage is gonna be. It's not a great deck, but it got quite good support, especially with that 2 mana secret now, guys. It's like a fireball with a 4/4 body. You can play it on, like you can play it on a minion for the control, but that you can do this in the face, guys, is huge. If this card would say deal 6 damage to a minion, I would not like this card. But deal 6 damage. It's like a fire elemental with like double battle cry. I like this card. This card must be good, guys. Especially that you can now also just keep a secret, play it for 0 mana, then play this. You know what, guys? Am I gonna do it? I'm gonna rate it 5 stars. I like this card a lot, guys. I'm giving it 5. Yeah. If it doesn't work, it's just because Secret Mage sucks. But this card is so good, guys. Oh my god. He's gonna regret that. Might be. Next up, Reno. Reno the Religious. 6 mana, 4/6. If your deck has no duplicates, deal 10 damage, randomly split among all enemy minions. So, of course, a very strong effect. I mean, deal 10 damage to anything is kind of like board clear. Kind of guaranteed. So, very good card, obviously. The only thing is, of course, like, do you want to make your deck an Highlander deck because you can play Reno, what is kind of like a Dynamic on like on another power level, and Dynamic on crack? Do you want to like play it just because you have like a way better removal and you can now play a 6 mana 4/6 in that way? You have now one other card that fits very well in a Reno deck. Mage is also a class that kinda can do this. Like, Mage is a deck that can play Highlander style on steroids. Yeah, that's what I mean. I wasn't getting on the word. For me, the problem is a little bit like, yeah, it's obviously a good card, but if I compare this card to the old Reno guys, it's so much worse. Like, it's a good card. You will play it in a Reno deck. You can play your deck a little bit around it. You guarantee yourself, if you have this in your hand, to have the board at turn 6. But it will make Reno decks a bit more mid-rangey. You're gonna make it mid-range. And with the 2 mana card that was revealed yesterday, where you can make a card, what is the best card at that spot, what we will go later to, it has potential. If there is a Highlander deck that works, it's gonna be Mage, in my opinion. Or Mage has like the best classic set and neutral synergies where it can work. So, yeah, I will rate, like, it's an okay card, guys. I'm gonna rate it like, I mean, of course it's a good card, because if you make this, if you're gonna play Highlander, guys, this card is gonna be one of your best in your deck. So I'm gonna rate it 3 stars for that. Because it's gonna be very good. Like, it just removes the complete board of your opponent and you get the board. So, it swings. But obviously, I cannot rate it higher than that. The quest for Mage, actually. Quest, cast 10 spells, reward as an Escalent Scroll, 2 mana, add a random Mage spell to your hand. It costs 2 less. Pretty high value card in a way, because, or a high value hero power, as it kind of goes infinite on spells. The problem for me a little bit with this spell is like the randomness on mage spells is so high. Like, you can get the worst removal, you can get like a little burn, but there's so much like randomness in this included. Like, I don't think a mage needs to play this to have enough value or to get enough power going. If I compare this quest just to the puzzle box of Yoxeron, I think Yoxeron is just better. Like, there might be a, like, let's say you will play this in a Mana Cyclone Mage, in an aggro Mana Cyclone Mage, what I think is a very good comparison or like synergy. I just don't think I want to spend 2 mana to get a random mage spell. I'm gonna rate it 2 stars. I don't think this quest is good. And that's at the high end. I don't think I want to rate like quest lower than that, but it's not a good one. I'm very generous here with my 2, guys. I'm very close on giving it a 1 star. And here, guys, puzzle box of Yoxeron. Cast 10 random spells, charges chosen randomly. Wow. What a card, guys. Old Yoxeron is kind of back, because with the 10 random spells, guys, the problem of now the Yogg is that if the Yogg dies, the spells stop. But this one says cast 10 spells, or I cast 10 spells, so you always gonna cast 10 spells now. And what is kind of funny, like Yoxeron was obviously getting played like in Druid a lot, but there was a time where people played it in Mage. And if you could get just 10 spells with Yogg, you will play it every time. What I also think is great about this in Mages, Mage can kind of go aggro mid-range. And then sometimes you just have a game where you're just getting out of value. But this can make a game that you lose suddenly turn into a win. You can just get like a little bit of decent removal, have like a few draw and summon something. It might just be an ultimate infestation in a lot of spots, or like a very comparable situation to that, a little worse maybe. And I think this card is very good in Mage, especially that you now also have a bit of like cheating ways you can play with this. You have like, let's say, the Tortollan that you can combine it with, where you just cast it for 8 mana. What basically for me is maybe even like comparable to a Yogg or a UI or anything. I like this card. I think this card is very good. I think you can also play this in Secret Mage, and if it didn't turn out well, then bam, turn 10, you drop this and you just bless that you can win it. And we all know how good Yogg was, guys. And if you will play a Yogg at turn 10 and you had 10 spells with it, where you were just a little bit behind in the game, you played it. I like this card. I like it a lot. It's good in any mid-range mage. I think, guys, I'm giving it 5 stars. I believe in the puzzle box of Yogg. I believe. You gotta make some ballsy calls, right? I think you're gonna play this in Mage. I think you play this in mid-range Mage, in like Secret Mage. I think you play this in Control Mage. I think you play it in Reno Mage. And this card doesn't have too much randomness. That's not true. The average outcome on this is high. It's very high. Like, you cheat so much mana with a card like this that the average outcome is good. And yes, guys, we're gonna have clips where you kill yourself. Or you're gonna have clips where you mill yourself. So it will have like a lot of downside as well. But there are gonna be a lot of games. This is a great card to just play in your deck. And you play it on the spot where you are a little behind and it can swing the game. Alright, guys, and that was it for Mage. Mage got pretty cool stuff. Mage got good cards, guys. This is good, this is good, this is very good. Mage got good cards. Did we actually do this one? We actually didn't do this one, but this card's very good, guys. It's pretty good. Paladin. I actually have no idea what Paladin is going to be, guys. I haven't looked much at Paladin. Did Paladin just not get good cards that I don't know? Subdue. 2 mana, set a minion attack and health to 1. It's an okay card, but it's kind of meh to run, I think. It's kind of situational. Don't think you want to really play this much. Set a minion, so it's like kind of... So you want to play this obviously on a strong minion of your opponent, and then you play this as like polymorphy. I mean, it's kind of like a decent polymorph in a way. Except on Death Rattle minions. Yeah, it's a decent card in that way, but can Paladin play that style? I will give it 2 stars. I think it's decent. Ancestral Guardian, 4 mana 4/2, Lifesteal, Reborn. So 4 mana 4/2 with Lifesteal and Reborn. Reborn being able that it resummons at 1 HP, so you have a 4 mana 4/2 Lifesteal and then it resummons as 4 mana 4/1 Lifesteal. It's obviously a decent card. It kind of has to get played in like a heal Paladin. Or like something that works very well with that. The problem for me a little bit is in like, where do I want to play this card? Like, it's just like, with all these Paladin cards that I see, guys, I am like, it could have been a neutral card as well. I'm just missing the synergy, what I have to do with this. Like, it doesn't have a win condition. And so, yeah, this card is like fine, but where am I gonna place it? Like, in Heal Paladin? What am I gonna do with Heal Paladin? I mean, this card is kind of nice in a way. I like this card. But it's just like, for me, every card with Paladin, I have this question where I'm gonna place it. So I'm like thinking of Heal Paladin, where you play maybe the 4 mana 7/7 taunt when you healed for 10. Like, this card is fine. This card is pretty decent. I rated 3 stars. But that's like every card that kind of comes with me with Paladin. Paradox Blessing. Give a minion +4/+4, Divine Shield, and Taunt. Very comparable to Blessing of Kings because of the +4/+4. But then 2 mana more expensive, and for the 2 mana more expensive, we are getting Divine Shield and Taunt. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Paying 2 mana for Divine Shield and Taunt, I think. I mean, there is some value in Divine Shield. You have like synergy with the Tiger in a way. It kind of reminds me a bit on Spikering Steed, but oh my god, this one is so much worse. Oh my god. No, this card is not so good, guys. Like Bone Mare without a body. It's like every card that was good I compared with. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, this card is kind of expensive. It's too expensive. 6 mana +4/+4. Come on. Yeah, I rated 1 star. I think this card is very bad. 1 star. Sorry. Blessing. Micro Mummy. 2 mana 1/2. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion 1 attack. Reborn. So it resummons. So once it dies, another minion gets +1 attack. Oh, I mean, it's a mech, so maybe a mech paladin there is like his little synergy. The problem with mech paladin though is mech paladin really goes like big on 1 minion. So it doesn't really like, it's not that relevant that you at the end of the turn give another random minion +1. Mech decks used to, or like kinda are more of an aggressive deck that goes hard on 1 minion. So that it doesn't really synergize well with mechs in a way. Because you want to use the magnetic so aggressively. It is a decent, it's a reasonably card. It also is not like, it can just give a dude +1 attack. I will give it 2 stars. Tip the scales. 8 mana, summon 7 Merlocks from your deck, guys. Oh my god, this kind of reminds me of anything can happen. But then you have to play all these cards in your deck, and they still have to be in your deck. This card's gonna be busted in Wild maybe with that deck. But yeah, that's another story. Like, what Merlocks do you want to play? Let's say you play double Bluegale, you play double Var Leader. For like some power directly. Maybe you can just drop enough stats with Amalgams. Maybe you can just play this card as 8 mana, summon a full board of strong Merlocks. You can cheat the mana maybe with like a Prismatic Lens. The problem is though, you still have to have 7 Merlocks in the deck. Like, you don't really want to play like 15 Merlocks. But there is potential for this card. Like, 8 mana, summon a completely strong board. Has like a lot of possibilities. I'm just worried, guys, about like that I have to play so many Merlocks in my deck. Because you're gonna draw stuff. And what are you gonna do then? I will give it 2 stars. And here, the Paladin quest, guys. Quest, play 5 Reborn minions, reward Emperor Resp. Summon a 2/2 or summon a 2/2 of a friendly minion. Question that I actually don't know, guys. If I don't have a friendly minion, can I still summon a 2/2 and it just doesn't copy anything? Because that kind of is relevant for me in reviewing this card. Otherwise, we kind of get the problem with that Troll has. That sometimes your hero power is kind of daddy. No? I mean, it's sometimes just needed that you sometimes summon a 2/2 and, like, doesn't it work, like, I read this very comparable as Faceless Manipulator and I could just drop it, but maybe as a hero power that doesn't work. Like, it's not that, but yeah. Play 5 Reborn minions. I am not completely, I don't know good enough how many Reborn minions we are having in the neutral set. So for Paladin, Reborn is a completely new mechanic. For Paladin, we are getting 1 Reborn. I need to know how many Reborns there are, guys, to review this. There are 2 Reborns in Paladin, and in neutral, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you need to, like, play kind of 5 of these. And then you play them as kind of 2-offs. So what are you going to play? This one is okay. This one is okay. Not so okay. Decent okay. But you go pretty arena style, huh? You need the cheap ones. You want the cheap ones. You want this probably, this. And then you get kind of far maybe. This is not a real Reborn because it gives your opponent Reborn. Maybe this, yeah. Okay. And you can play them 2 times, yeah. So you have like 3 decent there. It's doable to do this quest. I will rate it, yeah. Guys, I will rate it 2 stars. I know this. There's some synergy, but I'm a little worried that this works very well with Reborn, but it's not like a hero power that is gonna win you the game. I'm not impressed by this, guys. I'm very generous with my 2 here. Because I think you're just not gonna see this quest played. It's generous, guys. I want to be nice to Paladin, okay? Sir Finley of the Sands, 2 mana, 2/3. If your deck has no duplicates, discovered an upgraded hero power. And with the upgraded hero power, you have to think about all the hero powers that Baku did, or with Justicar. The hero powers that are just stronger from the class. This one is discovering an upgraded hero power, so you're gonna get other class hero powers that are upgraded. What means you can suddenly get 4 armor, you can get 3 damage, you can get more tokens to summon. And we know how good upgraded hero powers are. The thing, what has been very strong, of course, was Odd Paladin. The thing a little bit with the problem is, if you don't draw Sir Finley, you don't have your upgraded hero power. It's not like Baku that at the start of your game you have an upgraded hero power, so you're kind of forced to draw this. The card is very comparable to Baku in a way, because Baku had also punish of having only you can only play the odd cards. This one you can not play any duplicates. The card is very good. Like, I think this card is quite good. But yeah, the problem is a little bit like, if you don't draw this, then you're kind of like in a bit of a spot. You can play cards like Call of Adventure that I was thinking of, that kind of guarantee you having this in your opening hand, because you really, really want this in your opening hand. There is like some potential with Reno, also for a more aggressive Reno deck maybe in Paladin. I like this card. It's a pretty good card. I would rate it 3.5. Like, the card is good. It's just Paladin is not good. So it might just be that you will not see this card anytime. But this card, it's not because of this card. It's more because then Paladin is not good, or Reno is just too weak. I am kind of also interested, guys, why it is not a 1/3. They printed all the Reno cards exactly the same stats. But they made Sir Finley, instead of a 2 mana 1/3, they made it a 2 mana 2/3. Do you guys think that is because of Crystology? Because that was my thought. I was like, wow, I can now Crystology Sir Finley. But then I was like, wait, this card is 2 attack and not 1 attack. What kinda... Probably Blizzard was like, we don't want this Sir Finley to be always in the opening hand. What I guess I can understand. Next up is the Solid Pride. 3 mana, draw 2 1 health minions from your deck. 3 mana 3/1, Beast. Very comparable in a way to the way that Crystology works. With drawing 2 cards, or drawing 2 1 health minions instead of 2 attack minions. I don't know if you want to play that many 1 health minions though, but that's like another thing. So what I first was thinking, that the Paladin quest will be something related to 1 health minion. Summon X amount of 1 health minions, get the bonus, because there is another card like this. Now that we know the Paladin quest is not about that, I'm a little bit thinking, where does this card even go? I mean, obviously a 3 mana draw 2 is not bad. And you have a little body with it as well. Yeah. I have to rate it 2 stars, guys. I cannot rate it higher. There's just not enough synergy, and it just doesn't fit any archetype. Like, where do I even fit this? OTK Paladin? I can play better cards than this. And I'm really making it 2, guys, because 3 mana, 3/1, draw 2 is not bad. And that's how I kind of read this card. I'm just reading it as an arcane intellect with a body. In like some decks. Like, it draws Twilight Drake, what I was thinking of. What is kind of maybe cool. That you play this and then you draw Twilight Drake and you can play Twilight Drake. Sandweb's Queen. 2 mana 3/1. That's kinda okay for 2 mana. Add 2/1 Sandwebs to your hand. The Sandwebs are 1 mana 2/1. Oh, 1 mana 2/1s, okay. Beast. 2 mana. That's pretty decent. That's a pretty strong token card. Kinda comparable to the Darood card we have. The 1 mana, what is it called? Arcana, like it's an the 1 mana 2/1 that gives you 2 1/1s. This is a 2 mana 3/1 that gives you 2 2/1s, but they are also 1 mana. I like this card. This card is good. This card is very good. Like if you start 2 mana 3/1, they kill it. You then summon 2 2/1s. It's just very aggressive. I like this card. Three stars. And here, oh my god, the Brazen Zealot, 1 mana 2/1. Who likes the art of this card, guys? I like it. Whenever you summon a minion, gain +1 attack. So obviously a card that can like go quite hard on attack. The problem a little bit with this card is that it has like 1 health. This card kind of gotta be hard to make work. I mean, you can buff the health. Like, the power on is very high on this card. Gain +1 attack on a 1 mana card is very strong. It can go out of control, but it's so hard with a 1 health. Like, there is now a card that 1 mana neutral, give an 1 mana 1/2 neutral, give +2 health to a card. If you play this turn 1 and you coin the 1/2 out, you start turn 1 with a 1 mana 3/3 and a 1 mana 1/2. That's pretty good. And then this card can even grow more out of control. I give it 2.5 stars. Alright, that's it for Paladin. Oh, I don't feel too great about Paladin, guys. What do you feel? I don't know. Paladin just... To be honest, whenever I ever saw classes, I had ideas for every class. And then I just forgot that I only came to 8 classes. And I just forgot that there was Paladin for a little moment. I feel Paladin got kind of the weak part of the set here. There might be aggro Paladin, because neutral cards are supporting aggro Paladin very well. And there is, like, this card is kind of good. This card can work in the deck. Maybe with, like, a Surfinley might be too limited. I don't know about this Merlock kind of thingies. But yeah, it's gonna be hard for it to make work, guys. Paladin. Priest. Priest time, chat. Thanks also everyone for the subs, by the way, guys. I am very into my card review now, but I see there is quite a lot of people that subscribe. Thank you all so much for that and everything. Less than 3. Alright, Priest, guys. Is the comeback of Priest coming? Let's take a little look. Let's start here, guys, with the 5 mana 5/5. I actually haven't seen this card. Oh, that's ETC. Sandhoof Waterbearer. 5 mana 5/5. At the end of your turn, restore 5 health to a damaged friendly character. So it is like 5 mana 5/5. Heal 5 to either a minion, but also heal face. That's pretty good, guys. Damn, this card is good. It's very good in a mid-range priest. The question is, can we make mid-range priest work? It is also very comparable for me to Ragnaros Lightlord. In priest that has very good synergy. And I think it might even be better because it's just cheaper. And heal 5 is a lot, so it doesn't really... And it isn't end of the turn effect. I like this card. This card is good. The problem is, can Priest like make a deck where this fits in well? Like, can Priest make a good enough minion deck where this works? That's like the hardest part. But the Priest got quite a good support for that kind of style. So I kind of believe there might be ways. I give it 4 stars, this card. I like this card. This card is good. It's a very power. Oh man, I might even want to rate it higher. But my problem is like there is also Quest Priest where this fits in well. Like it's so hard for me to guess like how this archetype will be. Like from one way I see there's such a good power level on this, but then I'm still thinking, guys, is it gonna be like Conjurer's Mage that just drops giants early and just is so aggressive, and is it gonna beat Warrior that has like 28 removal cards? So that's my worry, but I like this. I see like potential at least. 4 stars. Strong stat line, strong effect, and keeps going. This card is very good. It's very good. Next up, Holy Ripple. 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Restore 1 health to all friendly characters. Spirit Lash, kinda, but then instead of dealing 1 damage to your minions and healing, you heal the minions. Kinda like Holy Nova, right? Yeah, kinda Holy Nova. But then like Little Nova. They should call it Little Nova, guys. Don't you think so? I think this card is like decent. It might be like it has like good cleric synergy. It's cheap, but it's very nice. The problem with Holy Nova is that it is like kind of expensive. Little, guys. Not little. Yeah, I kind of like this card. I rate it 3 stars. I like this. You can play it in like more mid-rangey decks. It's pretty good against decks if there will be a lot of like 1/1 tokens, let's say, or more like token Darood style. This card is super good. But it has like cleric synergy. It has like synergy with like maybe some other minions that you can heal. 3 stars. Penance. 2 mana, I haven't seen this card. Lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion with lifesteal. What is basically kind of like the old Spellstone of Warlock, but then not with any upgrade, and 2 mana. That's pretty good, guys. It's like a light bomb, but then you heal with it as well. 2 mana, removal of deal 3 damage is very good. And it has lifesteal, damn. This card is very good, guys. Might be kind of what Priest also needs. Just have cards like this that deal well with very annoying minions and you heal, guys. Oh my god, this card is so good. This card is very good. Compare this card to Frostbolt, guys. It's very easy. It's a Frostbolt with heal. This card is very good. So good card. I rate it 4.5 stars, guys. I'm very convinced this card is super good. I'm not gonna rate cards like this 5 stars because that feels like it's just like a random removal. It's not that insanely impactful, but this card is very good. And also, now, after already seeing a little bit of healing cards, activate the obelisk is the priest quest. Quest, restore 15 health. Reward, obelisk eye. Restore 3 health. If you target a minion, also give it +3/+3. So also an quest that is more towards that mid-range priest that I talked about, where you kind of like want to heal, restore, but also it's definitely a deck that wants to play minions and win the board. I think there's a lot of synergy already in Priest with this Restore 15. Restore 15 is not that difficult for Priest. We have now seen some quests that are very easy to complete, like Darood. We have seen some quests that are very hard to complete, like the Hunter one. This is a good example of like a quest I think you can complete like quite some earlier. Depends a little bit, of course, like if you're damaged, if you have minions to heal, but if you have an injured Blade Master, or if you maybe you even want to play cards like Crystallizer in Priest now. So, but like Crystallizer is a minion that is also great to buff, for example, as this 1 mana. So I kind of, oh, my camera. Go focus cam. Focus. It doesn't focus, whatever. I like this card. It's a pretty good card. And I think the Priest buff is like, you want to make it this in a Red Age Priest. I really think this archetype can be very good, guys. It kind of reminds me of like some old school the very old school Priest that we had in 2014, where you played a lot on the Cleric style with Injured Blade Master, Circle of Healing, where there were very limited cards, but now other archetypes became so strong, but now I also see like a lot of synergy with this. I like this card. I will give this quest 4 stars. I like it. It's one of the better, more quests that has a reward where I feel this high impact. You can play a lot of damage minions as well that already synergy. If you hit this, like if you just hit this one time, guys, on an Injured Blade Master at turn 5, let's say you play an Injured Blade Master and then this, you suddenly make it already an 4-6. You make it a 5 mana 6/9, kinda super strong, and you can keep going. It's kinda a quest that has win potential, so I like it. Oh, 7/9. Sorry, you guys are right. Let's go. All right, can we focus now, Cam? Never mind. Cam doesn't want to focus. Why, Cam? Brofist, chat. Brofist for you. It's fine. It's fine, then not. Wretch Reclaimer, 3 mana 3/3. Destroy a friendly minion, then return it to life with full health. Destroy an Injured Blade Master, and here it comes back. Destroy a Reborn minion, and get the Reborn, but also get the other minion, because it resummons. Kinda a card that you want to play in a like mid-range Resurrect Priest, because you obviously don't want to play this in a full Resurrect Priest deck, as this one is also a minion itself, so it goes in the pool. But it's a very strong card. It's a 3 mana 3/3, where you can kind of like play a very healthy minion, cheat mana, and then like kind of resurrect it. I'm very convinced this card is pretty good. Because the body of this card is already very solid itself, but there's so much synergy for Priest to make this work. I rate it 4 stars. It's a good card. Alright, how good is this one? Oh, Leroy synergy, that's also true. Maybe that's the card that Charge Priest needs, guys. Maybe that was one of the 30 cards Charge Priest needs. Embryo Ritual, 1 mana, give her minion Reborn. I haven't really looked too much at like synergies, like how much we want to rate Reborn. So this is a card you kind of want to play on Death Rattle minions. I don't know if there's much other synergy or end of the turn minions. This card is very hard to evaluate for me. Like I don't know the range enough of Reborn on just like there might be some very good synergies. I guess like maybe let's say Zilliax. If you give this to Zilliax, it's like kind of good, I guess. But you don't forget that you now, guys, have to put a card in your deck that is this. Like, the problem with this, it takes a card spot away, or instead of, like, a very impactful card, you now have a card that gives a minion Reborn. For me, that's kind of the same as like give a minion lifesteal, give a minion death. Like it takes like it takes your card away, what hurts. But there might be like here and there some synergy. I give it 2.5 stars. It's hard to say for me, that one. Next up, Grand Mummy. Aww, beautiful Grand Mummy there, chat. Look how she is taking care of the little mummies there. 2 mana, 1/2. Reborn. Death Rattle gave a minion, friendly minion, +1/+1. Kind of decent in a mid-range priest. 2 mana, 1/2. Give another minion +1/+1. Let's say you go cleric turn 1. You play this turn 2. It's kind of cool, guys, that we kind of get a deck for priest that is kind of mid-range. That doesn't rely like on the heaviest win conditions or like goes too late. Can you stack multiple Reborns? I suppose you can, but I actually don't know. You just Reborn twice, right? And you summon 2 of these. I would suppose, yes, that's how Death Rattle works. You can get double Death Rattle. I don't... You can't? Really? Okay, you can't. It's not a big thing, but I guess then you can't. This is an okay card, but I'm not sure if this fits in hard enough. I will give it... it's a decent card. I will give it 3 stars. And next up, guys, the Priest Legendary. High Priest Emmet. 4 mana, 2/7. Whenever you summon a minion, set its health equal to this minion's. Wow, wow, wow. This card is so good in Priest. It's super good. So whenever you summon a minion, it basically gets 7 health directly. Imagine when you play this, guys, 4 mana, 2/7, you follow it up by a Stone Tusk Boar. The Stone Tusk Boar is a 1/7. You just give it an Inner Fire, and for 6 mana, you just summon a 2 mana 7/7, and you just hit the face. Wow. Of course, you can even combine this with like Divine Spirit and more, and then you do 14 or even 28 in the late game. Do this on a Northshire Cleric, and you just summon a 1 mana 1/7. Do it even with an Goldshire Footman, what is probably the worst example ever, but suddenly you summon an 1 mana 1/7 town. Do you know how annoying that is, guys? When you play turn 5, this with an Goldshire Footman. Also, maybe even with Magma Rager, and you just make a 3 mana 5/7. Like, I don't know. What I just want to say is, like, this card has so many insane synergies that it makes cards just go completely insane. There are also resummon effects, guys, because this is not like play a card, it is summon. So if you summon something back from the death, it also generates already and goes directly to 7 HP. Super strong. Super, super strong. This card is so good. And also in all these mid-range deck, guys, all the minions that have 1 HP, they gain 7 HP. And just the stat line, this card is only 4 mana. It's not like an insanely high mana cost that this card has. It is like a super, super high, or it's super cheap. It's a 4 mana 2/7, was just a solid body. This card, and also, it even works on Reborn, as Reborn also summons here, if I'm correct. Every Lackey can even become a 1/7. Like, this card is so, so, so good. And especially in Priest that can work with Inner Vias, Topsy-Turvy, all these kind of synergies. It has so much good synergies, guys. I think this card is the best card of the set. 5+. Not even 5 stars. 5+. Card's so good. Completely insane. That's how school also worked, guys, right? Sometimes you had like the best and you had like a 10 or an A, but there was this A plus or 10 plus you could get. This card is a 5 plus. Insane. Super insane. Next here, also in the Priest, Psycho Pump, 4 mana 3/1. Summon a random friendly minion that died this game. Give it Reborn. Man, this card's also so good, guys. Because it's a 4 mana 3/1 with like a resummon. With like a resurrect, and then you also give Reborn to the resurrected minion. Of course, it doesn't really work in like a completely resurrect priest that you have like in the wild style, because this one goes in the pool as well. But again, it's kind of is that fitting to that mid-range priest archetype, as I already said. And if you just play Injured Blade Master at turn 3, guys, and you play this at turn 4, and you just resummon the Blade Master as a 4/7, it's just so good. Like, this card is... these kind of things, especially with cards like Injured Blade Master that are very insane in the stat line, is gonna be so good on this. I think it's a... I rate this 4 stars. I think it's a very strong card. And also, of course, Emmet. You can just resummon Emmet. And then Emmet has Reborn. Infinite Emmet. Next up is the Plague of Death. 9 mana, silence all and destroy all minions. So kind of twisting Nether, but then also first silencing. So Death Rattle minions are like also going in the pool here. Oh, pool animals, guys. Look at this. No. So the card is of course very strong for its removal effect, and it definitely always clears. The problem is a little bit, it's very, very expensive. 9 mana, remove the full board. It's still like your opponent can play very well around this. Like, they know you're gonna maybe have this, and it's a card that will remove the board, but you're not really doing something yourself. So you kinda say, I remove, but I pass the turnover. In that way, it was like a bit like Psychic Scream, but Psychic Scream was 7 mana, and it was such a big deal that you could sometimes just play. It was just in time for 7 mana to play it. And turn 9 just feels a bit too late. It just is not gonna happen, I think. Like, yeah, it can be good. Like, let's say if you play this against Lucenbark Druid. Okay, there is this one spot. But for the rest, there is like no way where I see this card getting played. It's too expensive. I will rate it 2 stars because it is a very powerful effect here and there, but also Priest doesn't really have enough synergy. I think for making this kind of a deck work, it's just too expensive. And that's it for Priest, guys. Damn, Priest got quite some cards. It really got quite some cards. The quest is very reasonable, very good removal. Psycho Pump was a very good card. The Reckless Reclaimer, also a good card. Kinda all good cards. I'm not sure about this card, but the rest of the cards are all so good. And then you have High Priest Ahmed. Well, it's just completely the nuts, guys. Priest got really, really a lot. Priest is back. Prepare yourself for Priest, guys, because Priest is back. I can already tell you that. Alright, guys. Next up. I'm gonna show you here the quest for a little moment, guys. I want to go shortly to the toilet, so I will be right back. Let me change this. Is Twitch actually going well? I haven't taken a little look at all, guys. Aw, 7K people here. That's amazing. Nice. I will be right back, guys. Let me do this. And give me your thoughts on the quest here, guys. So, Priest, or Rogue, sorry. What do you guys think of this card? So, what you can obviously do here, guys, with this card is... oh, let me actually change this. Add 4 cards from other classes to your hand. Then Ancient Blades. So it says add 4 cards from other classes to your hand. That doesn't mean you need to play these cards. It's just like get 5 cards from other classes. And there is already cards like Blink Fox. You have the 4 mana 4/3. I forgot the name for a little moment. 1 mana Pilfer. And there is also one more other card that is very relevant that I actually want to shortly show you here. Cleaver Discuss. Add 2 random spells from other classes to your hand. Also here. So the quest for Rogue is very doable, guys. I don't think it is that strange that you just complete this quest at turn 4 or 5. Then the benefit is equip a 3/2 blade with immune while attacking. So equipping a 3/2 blade that you can use in the face or to trade. But also with the immune, what gives it a bit better of a trade option. It's definitely not a hero power that's gonna be like, woo, I win the game, but you deal a lot of damage. I mean, you can kind of see it as an 2 mana upgraded hunter hero power in a way that it goes phase when you want to, but you can actually also trade very well with this. So it's kind of nice in that way. It's pretty strong. And I think the quest is also very easy to complete. The quests I am most impressed by are the quests that I can complete at turn 4, turn 5. The quests are not as insane as we had back in the day that completely win you the game. But the quests are a bit more doable and combining earlier. And that's where the most of the potential is. I think the quest is pretty decent. You can even consider it to play it in, let's say, like the more water rogue that is currently around with a lot of the battle cries. You just have to put in a bit more of the randomness, but then you already get this upgrade. So I like this card kinda. I will rate it 3 stars. I don't feel it's on the power level of the Darood one or of the Priest one, but I like it definitely. And yeah, this card we kind of got here as well with the Cleaver. It's kind of like a Pilfer. But then like 1 more mana and you get 1 more. So 2 mana, get 2 spells. I actually rated 3.5. I think it's a bit better. Because Rogue is also so good at the moment. I will rate it a bit higher. So, is it better than Pilfer is what you can first think. I think it is better than Pilfer because you play 1 more mana, but you get like 1 more card for well, and also you have a little bit higher chance that at least one of the 2 cards is kind of good. I think this card is pretty good. I'll rate it 3 stars. It's pretty nice. And I will not rate it 3 stars in any other class, but in Rogue there is a lot of synergy. You can suddenly play Vendettas for 0 mana already on turn 2. You can suddenly play the 2 mana 3/4 the Fench. So that's why I rate it a bit higher than I will do in other classes. Alright. And then here, next. Second Sapper, 4 mana 4/4, Death Rattle. Return a random enemy minion to your opponent's hand. So the second Sapper being an extra sap effect here on the card as well. 4 mana 4/4 Pirate with Death Rattle. Return a random enemy minion to your opponent's hand. The problem that I have with this card is that sap is a mechanic you really want to play in specific situations when it really fits you. When I now read this Death Rattle, I think it's a more negative Death Rattle. Because now your opponent can like trade things away, and then he trades the sapper away, and then he saps the target that he wants to get sapped, so he can play it again. It's not as good as a sap where you normally play sap on the best minion for you. Now it's probably gonna happen on the worst minion. It is a pirate, so there's a little bit synergy with it where you can play it with Hook Tusk, and suddenly you summon this and you trade things away, and then you sap. But normally Hook Tusk trades the whole board away anyway. It doesn't really leave up a minion. Of course you can play towards it, but I'm not too impressed by this card. I will give it 1.5 stars. And here, guys, a nice cute cat. Parado Cat. 1 mana, 1/2. Aw. Add a random reborn minion to your hand. I suppose it also means you can get reborn minions from other classes. Yes. Oh, hard to rate. Guys, I just don't know the range of reborn minions well enough. I have the same issue at the other class. What are the class ones? That's a good one. That's a decent one. Nah, not that many class reborns. There are like half of the classes got 1 reborn minion. Or Paladin too. Pretty decent. 1 mana. 1 mana. Damn. It's not 2 mana, guys. 1 mana, 1/2. It's like Town Crier. But then it adds a random reborn minion. And it's not from your deck, but from just a random one. But there is synergy with cards like Venge or Vendettas or other or quests that are like helping you towards this. There's more neutral. The problem is there is more neutral reborns than class reborns. From shortly what I saw, or it's kind of like 50-50. Venge is the 2 mana 3/4, guys. Or how is it called? The 2 mana 2/3. If you have a card from another class, get +1/+1 and rush. So I like this card. I rate it 3 stars. I think the card's quite good in Rogue. But yeah, there is like, it's kind of tough, but because of the random reborn, it's a little hard to rate. Next up, Shadow of Death. 4 mana. Choose a minion. Shuffle 3 shadows into your deck that summon a copy when drawn. Summon a what? Choose a minion. Choose a minion, shuffle 3 shadows into your deck that summon a copy. So the copy of the minion you choose, I suppose. Cast when drawn. Do you draw when you get this? That's how cast when drawn works. You cast, but then you still draw a card. So obviously this is a card you can, like, let's say play on Leroy, and then you have like 3 Leroys in your deck. It also is a little comparable to Valkyrie Strider. But then the weakness of this card compared to Valkyrie Strider is that you don't have the 4/4 body. So you now, for 4 mana, what's pretty expensive, guys, 4 mana, you choose a minion. And then you don't have that 4/4 body, what was kind of good on Valkyrie Strider. And Valkyrie Strider had a little bit of slow mechanic as well. I don't think this is better than Tox Scheme, for example. Like, you can just Tox Scheme a card if you really badly want it, and there is quite some draw. This card is too slow for me. I don't like this much. Like, yeah, you can play it on Leroy, but you also have Shadow Stab, you also have Tox Scheme. They just do things better. And yes, you summon it, so you then play it, so you need to do this on expensive minions more, but I'm not too impressed by this. I will rate it 2 stars. I'm not impressed. I'm not as impressed on this too much. I know you can also choose enemy minion, but it's too expensive, guys, and it's too randomness in a lot of ways. I don't like it. Hooked Scimitar, 3 mana, 2/4, combo, gain +2 attack. So 3 mana, 4/2 weapon in a lot of the ways. Might be able to fit decently in, like, let's say an raiding party deck. Or like an aggro rogue. It's like an kind of 3 mana 4. Like, you read this card kind of like a 3 mana 4/2 weapon. It's kind of hard to say because Rogue has so many good weapons. You have the Waggle Pick, what's 1 more mana, but also have a very good effect. You now have the Quest that has an insane weapon. Like, this card is not bad, but it feels like a bit overkill in the weapons now here for Rogue. I think it's gonna be like very comparable to the neutral weapon we have for Rogue. I forgot the name, but the 3 mana 2/2 weapon that deals 2. And I think that this one, the Hooked Scimitar, is very comparable to it. I don't think it's much better, I don't think it's much worse, but it just doesn't make the cut. So I'm gonna rate this 2 stars. Perdition Blade, thank you, chat. That was what I was meaning. I think it's very comparable to that one. Like, yeah, in some spots a bit better. Might be a bit better if you make your deck around it. Like, let's say with green skin, but I'm not too impressed. It's just because I feel Rogue has so many good weapons. Rick Master, 2 mana 1/2. Whenever you play a combo card, add a random combo card to your hand. 2 mana draw. 2 mana 1/2. Whenever you play a combo card, add a random combo card. There are some very bad combo cards. Add a random combo card going. I was first thinking this might draw you a combo card from your hand, but whenever you play a combo card, so let's say you play this and then you Abyss and then you get a random. Doesn't make the cut for me, I think, guys. Like, you play this early with Abyss, SI, but like combo cards are good, but they're not like, ooh, I won the game. Like, yeah, you can get Van Cleave and so, and Abyss. They are all good cards, but can you make a deck around this just with full combo and then get a full combo hand? What if you just play this at turn 10, you play like 4 combo cards and then you get 4 new ones? Like, in a way, I'm trying to make this card think like a Mana Cyclone, but it just doesn't. I will rate it 1.5 stars. I think this card is quite weak. Alright, guys. And here's the Rogue Legendary. Anka the Buried. Change each Death Rattle minion in your hand into a 1/1 that costs 1. Very strong effect. 5 mana, 5/5 Battlecry. Change each Death Rattle minion in your hand to a 1/1. Because you can play like very expensive Death Rattles. A good example is, of course, guys, the first thing you're of course thinking of is Mechatoon. That you can now suddenly get yourself here. Just for a 1 mana 1/1. And let's say you then just mirrors your whole deck away, and then you just, at the end, you just backstep your Mechatoon. Pretty good in that way. You can also play it on like you have like maybe some healing. Let's say the Derringe Doctor is very good example, where you now can, instead of an 8 mana 8/8 heal 8 Death Rattle, you make it a 1/1. So there's quite some nice synergies. Also, if you just like maybe even, because you make them cost 1, it's so good. Like, if you have a Karen in your hand and you just slam it the turn after, or all these very strong summon effects are also very, very good that are more late game. I also know you have like a ridiculous card now. What is an 8 mana 8/8 that draws 8 cards as Death Rattle as a neutral legendary. What might just be completely sick in it. Like, maybe there is some way that you can just make a Death Rattle deck, and this is definitely a card that can make it work. The problem is, are you gonna rely too much on this card in that archetype? Because I don't know how much support it really has in Rogue. But I like it. Like, Mechanical Whelp is another good example on just playing in this deck. It has good potential. I'm gonna rate this. I will rate it 4 stars. I will rate it 5 stars if I was like, damn, this archetype is the nuts. But it's more like, I will rate it 5, like the card I will rate 5 stars maybe, but the archetype is kind of more for me, where I'm like, it's kind of an archetype that starts from 0 a bit, so 4 stars. Next up, another kind of weapon-y card for Rogue, Plague of Madness. Each player equips a 2/2 knife with Poisonous. So, a 1 mana card, very cheap. I think this card is definitely not something you just want to play in your deck, but if you play this, you want to play it with synergy. You want to, let's say, play in Ooze, play in Harrison. Because otherwise it's kind of like, not really that insane. Of course, you can also then play with Deadly Poison, but this more an weapon you want to play to remove, more in like a mid-range or control rogue. So it is like in that way kind of decent, but you kind of need ways that you also like do something towards your opponent's dagger, or maybe play a deck yourself that just doesn't play minions, and then it matters a little less. It is also a spell, if that is any relevant. I've already 2 stars. I'm not too impressed by this. Like, it can work maybe in a Death Rattle rogue, but then still, like, they kill the Death Rattle and then you still destroy. So I'm not too impressed. And that's it for Rogue, guys. So Rogue is already, like, super strong. It got some decent quests that I think can very well fit well in the new archetype, or in the current archetype. Actually, I didn't do this one. 5 mana, 3/5, add a random minion from another class to your hand. Rush. 5 mana, 3/5 rush is pretty decent. Add an extra card and deal with a minion. Me Ogre, me Smash. I think on the first glance you kind of think this card is not so great, but the more you look at it, you're like, yeah, that's actually pretty solid. 5 mana, 3/5. In that way, like, kind of like, it's kind of comparable a bit to like, let's say like a Zilliax, but instead of the heal, you get a minion. I rated 3 stars. It's just it's a nice card. So yeah, Rogue got quite some decent cards, or it has like, it's already very strong. I think the quest is very fitting all current Rogue archetypes already, so that is something you're gonna try. Maybe the Anka can make something work. Rogue got like a lot of like reasonable cards that fit more towards like the Battlecry Rogue that we have now, the Shark Rogue, maybe a Test Rogue in a way. So yeah, and Rogue doesn't need much. Every time Rogue gets a bit, guys, it already gets quite good quite fast. It has such a strong classic set. So Rogue will have good options. Alright, guys, next up, Shaman. Shaman. Alright, I actually haven't seen much of Shaman, guys, so I guess yesterday they revealed some. I missed that game but of the Shaman. Totemic, wow, they actually made it! This is such a meme actually, because this has been a card that like kind of got requested a lot just over the over time, where like, hey, why do we only have Totemic Might that gives a health to the totems? Now we are getting the Totemic Surge, give your totems +2 attack. The totems can do something now, guys. In Shaman. How good it will be? I mean, it's a 0 mana card. 0 mana cards are good. But will it be very good? Like, there's not really much synergy with Totem Shaman at all. But this card is not bad though. I don't know if you want to have a deck though that relies on hero power in Shaman. That's just a problem. Like, if totems get support, this card is gonna be so good. It's so good then, but it's just so like at the moment you feel really bad spending 2 mana on making a totem, and that's just because there is no synergy. So yeah, this is like, you can now give them 2 attack, but that probably doesn't make the complete cut. You might still here and there try it in like a token Shaman. And you have like a little bit more synergy, let's say with like Amalgam. There is a totem coming out. You can do it on Mana Tide Totem and so on. It's a good card. I've already 3 stars. And I don't think it will see it played in this expansion, but this is a card we need to always keep a little bit in mind now. Next up, Sandstorm Elemental, Battlecry, or 2 mana 2/2, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Aww. Sandstorm elemental, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. It's kind of like very comparable to Maelstrom Portal. They did 1 damage to everything and summons a 1-drop. Now you have a little overload in it. Kind of comparable to Ghoul as well. This is a good card. Oh, the beautiful sandstorms. Did they actually copy the song, guys, kind of? But just in another way. Do 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 do. Alright. I like this. I like the card. I'm already at 3.5 stars because I'm a little worried where it really got to fit in for Shaman. It kind of wants to get played in an aggro Shaman. Or maybe a mid-range Shaman. That's where you want to play this card. Because it kind of, then this 2-2 body is also very relevant. Can be like, yeah, we all know how good Maelstrom Portal was. And this card is very comparable, guys. It's not that much difference. It's like a consistent Maelstrom Portal because it summons a body. Yeah, you get now an overload for 1, but it's a very good card. What is this tral here, chat? 7 mana, 3/4, rush, cost 1 less for each minion on the battlefield. Also counting your opponent's board. So, well, we all know, guys, when cards can cost 0, they can be OP. Kinda in a way comparable to like Sea Giant, like the mechanic wise. And instead of Sea Giant, it costs less. And you get Rush. Is this the okay, chat. Is this the new Corridor Creeper? Let's think about this card a bit more before we make like any assumption here. Because I don't want to be wrong on this one. I was the sleeper on the Corridor Creeper, so 7 mana, like you get Rush. So it's like, sometimes, guys, games go like, my opponent has 3 minions, I have 2 minions, I play another one, and then I can play this like for 1 mana. Then I can even mutate it after using the Rush. This card is power creep, guys. You can definitely cheat with this card. You have like a little tokens yourself, you're an aggro deck. Then your opponent has like, let's say just 2 creatures, what is pretty average. And then you play this for like 2 mana, you rush, you trade a minion away, you mutate for 0 mana. This card is good, guys. This card can like, I don't think it is like Corridor Creeper, but this card is definitely very similar, or very close at least. I'm rating it 4 stars. This card is good. Definitely good. Play this card on turn 3 or turn 4, mutate it directly, bam, I won. And now, guys, I see the LULWs, but just wait. 4 stars. Clip it. Why do we always only clip the cards, guys, that end up the wrong way, you know? You can also clip my genius calls that I have all the time. I haven't seen this card. Vecina is the new Shaman. 4 mana, 2/6. Whenever you're overloaded, your other minions have +2 attack. Or while you're overloaded. Kinda bloodlusty. But then on a minion, if you are a little overloaded. Definitely feel a lot of the power cards in Shaman are overload cards at the moment, and also from the new expansion. Yeah, this card's pretty solid. It kind of feels in a little way like a Bloodlust. But then like better, I think. Bloodlust is sometimes so clunky. Yeah, you have these... Bloodlust feels for a lot of people that it's like the best card in the deck. But it is like the lowest win rate cards in a lot of Shaman decks. Because it just wins you the game. It's the same as Leroy Jenkins. You only realize it when you win the game. This card kind of feels like it also can do exactly the same. It can win the game in late game. But you can also play it a bit more consistently in the mid game. What I really like about this. Like, combine it with Volcanic Burst or something, and suddenly these Volcanic Bursts are rushing also for 3-1. Kind of interesting that this card doesn't have the Murloc archetype. Or is it just me that this card... it's maybe a snake. But it kind of looked a bit like that. I like this card. I'm just not sure if like the... I'm just not sure if this is like can fit like the current Shaman. If Shaman can go aggro enough. They probably can. I'm rating it 4 stars. I was thinking of rating it higher. I'm definitely rating it 4, but I'm a little worried that it's... We'll see. We need the archetype to support it. Next up, Splitting Axe. 4 mana 3/2. Summon copy of your totems. So now you can copy all your totems. And they can also have 2 attack, guys, as you saw. So there's a bit more synergy with that. The general thing is, like, totems are kind of weak. We now have an extra totem that we see later that can summon a Lecky. We also have, like, let's say, Mana Tide totem. It is a battle cry, so you can directly copy it. You can also cheat a bit, like playing Amalgam on turn 3. And then play this on 4. And then you'd copy it. I think first you rate this card like a 1 star, but the more I think about it, the more synergies there are. So I'm rating it 2 stars. Because there's also now this totem coming out, what we will go later over, what is pretty good to also copy. You have Mana Totem. I'll rate it 2 stars. I cannot rate it higher than that, guys. But the more I think about it, the more I like it, so... It might even get potentially better. If totems are getting better. I just don't believe like Totem Shaman is a deck that can win. It always needs like support. Totem Shaman is just a deck that you want to play and combine with like Aggro Shaman or Midrange Shaman. It cannot rely on itself. Alright, next up is Plague of Merlocks. Transform all minions into random Merlocks. So... This card is actually very interesting, because it's kind of like a massive polymorph or massive like removal on all minions. If you are like playing against, let's say, Mage, Conjurer's Mage, you can just turn their giants into little Murlocs. Like, this card is very... First you are like, oh, what can you even do with this card? But this card isn't... It's 3 mana, guys. It's so cheap. You can really play this as a super mega removal on everything. And it also kind of works well with, like, even if you are having your own minions. Like, let's say you play against that Conjurer's Mage and you have like 3 tokens or even 5 tokens yourself. You kind of, more often than not, will make a better board than your opponent. You probably also have a bit more synergy with, like, Merlocks in a way, as a Shaman. So this is a very, very strong card. And you can sometimes just use it as like a little Stormbringer, where you have 5 minions yourself and you just feel like you can hit these bar leaders a little bit and like mid-rangey Merlocks. Or maybe even you play the 2 mana, like, maybe you just even play this in Merlock Shaman in a way where you have a removal, but you also have Merlocks yourself. I like this card. 4 stars. 4.5 stars, guys. Let's go a little high. I like this. Super strong card. It just fits. It just fits Control Priest or a Control Shaman. It fits mid-rangey Shaman. I like this. Next up, Weaponized Wesp. 3 mana 3/3. Battlecry. If you control Lecky, deal 3 damage. Quite okay. you have like quite some Lecky synergy, and it's kind of like a 3-mana fire elemental, like just in a mid-rangey deck. Or in a Lecky deck. It is a battle cry, so it's like synergizes with the quest we will see soon, and it also synergizes with, like, let's say Shudderwock. Not necessarily good with Shudderwock, but pretty okay. I like this card a lot. Just think about how strong SI7 is, and then look at this a bit maybe. It's not like always a turn 3 play because you need a Lecky, but you can play it on turn 4, and then you just deal 3 damage in combination with a Lecky. I like this card a lot. It's a super good card. It fits mid-range Shaman perfect. I rate it 4 stars. Next up is Earthquake. 7 mana, deal 5 damage to all minions, then deal 2 damage to all minions. Besides how I rate this card, guys, I just really like this card. I don't know why. With like, I mean like the mechanic, or just like the way it works, or just having Earthquake and Hearthstone. I don't know. I just like it or something. So, deal 5 damage to all minions and then deal 2 is kind of the way that you can maybe counter the new mechanic Reborn very well. You kill the minions and then you also like kill the Reborn effect. It's also very good, like, let's say against Token Druid, where they have like all the, like they play all the trends, or they play Soul of the Forest, and then you kill all the minions and you kill also the Soul of the Forest minions. It works very well against like high min is of course like a good example where they play high min and you kill high min. So it's a very good removal against a lot of specific stuff, and I think it does like a better job than, let's say, Twisting Nether, because the deal 5 is so good and then you deal like 2 to all these annoying minions. It deals better with like Death Rattles and like Reborn effects. Yeah, compare it to Flame Strike, and of course you're not gonna play this in Aggro Shaman, but in a Control Shaman it's a better Flame Strike. So I like this card a lot. 4 stars, I think. I'm not sure if Control Shaman can make it, but this card is good. I like it. And here, guys, the quest for Shaman. Corrupt the Waters. Play 6 Battlecry minions. Reward Heart of Firnal. Your 2 mana, your Battlecries trigger twice this turn. We are getting the Bran hero power. The good old Bran Bronzebeard hero power here for Shaman. First question, of course, guys. How difficult is it to complete 6 Battlecries? Well, if there is one thing that is a lot in Hearthstone, it's probably Battlecries. There are a lot of Battlecries here in Shaman. You also have like now the 1 mana Lecky in Shaman that you can then follow it up with another like where you can also play the Lecky. All Leckies are having Battlecries as well. So if you start with the 1 mana Merlock Battlecry, you follow it up by the Lecky already. You might play the new 3-drop. I think it's a quest that's quite easy to compete, and you don't really weaken your deck by playing these Battlecry cards, because there are a lot of good Battlecry cards that you can just put in. It kind of works a bit with like Shudderwock as well, of course, in the later game, but also just getting then the quest really works well with the reward of like just Battlecry, and then you have like Shudderwock. So I think you can just put in a deck with like maybe not 30 but like 25 Battlecries, or just make a 30 card deck that's just Battlecries, and it will probably be very good. And trigger twice Battlecries can be very good, like deal double damage, give double buff. There's so much synergy with this, so I really like this quest. I think it's one of the better quests. I give it a 4 star. I think this also that work very well with Shaman, and it's not unreasonable that you complete this at like, let's say, a turn 5 or something. So I like this quest a lot. It's one of the only quests that I see as like, yeah, this quest can kind of win me the game. So I like it. And the last Shaman card here, Evil Totem. At the end of your turn, add a Lecky to your hand. Solid one. It's a little slow, of course, as a 2-mana 0-2, add a Lecky to your hand. It's a bit comparable to Mana type, but then a Lecky generator. Definitely, if you are looking very badly for Leckies, then this is a good card. But it's on the other side also a little bit slow. It's a bit comparable to Evil Cable Red, maybe. Because it's also a 2-mana card that generates a Lecky. But then it has like a 0-2 body with like upside potential of getting more, but the downside of like it maybe getting traded away. I mean, it's obviously better than like hero powering at Totem, the hero power at 2, but are you really that much more happy with it? I think it's a 2-star card. I think this gets traded a bit too easily. And Leckies, yeah, they are good, but it's not like, ooh, I won the game. They're good. 2.5. But not better than that. So yeah, guys, Shaman got quite some sweet cards. They got like kind of good cards all around. Pretty solid, good, good, good. Good, good, good. Like, I'm not looking at a single Shaman card, maybe besides Splitting Eggs, that I'm like, oh, that card is bad. No, all the cards are like, they're nice. Or they have something that like, it makes sense and they have the power. So I like it. Shaman definitely got cool stuff. It's not like really everything towards one archetype, maybe besides like the Battle Cries, but a lot of good cards overall. So Shaman definitely got nice stuff. We'll see what Shaman goes for direction though, because Shaman might just be the class that actually has like multiple archetypes. A mid-range, an aggro, a Battle Cry, maybe control. Lots of options for Shaman. Okay guys, and now we will see. We are actually gonna go to Warlock. Will Hearthstone have 9 classes again? Or will Warlock be the same as last expansion and just not be there? Let's see. New class. Aw, chat. Let's take a look at this new class. Alright. Alright. First up here, guys. The new a new Warlock card. Never Set Treasure. 3 mana 4/5. Whenever this attacks, deal 3 damage to your hero. Pretty interesting card. It's a super power creep, of course, a bit. It's a 3 mana 4/5, so very strong. And then it deals like 3 damage to your hero whenever it attacks. So there is like that downside. I have to combine this card with another card, guys, because it's just too important. As we also now have a 4 mana 3/5 after your hero attacks or after your hero takes damage on your turn, summon a random 3-cost minion. And I think it's too relevant to show this, as when you ever play your 3 mana 4/5 and you then follow it up by this one, then you attack your face, it's actually an upside that you take 3 damage. Because you have a 3 mana 4/5, you have a 4 mana 3/5, and you summon a random 3-drop. So there's a lot of potential in this more aggro and mid-rangey style of the Warlock here. Maybe Zoo, maybe a bit more mid-rangey than Zoo. Where you kind of want to like take damage on yourself to make it work. And this card is very good. The Deceased Vulture. I like this card a lot. This card is even good with just hero power. You just play it on turn 6 and you go this with hero power and you just summon a 4 mana 3/5 with something else. What is a must kill. So this card is very good. I'm rating this card 4.5 stars. If this card is good, I'm not super sold. I'm gonna rate it 3 stars. The problem for me is still like, can Warlock also have like enough life to play with? Because Warlock is not the greatest currently still in heal effects. But yeah. I rate this one 3 stars. Next up, Sinister Deal. Discover a Lecky. We have to go first to discard. Dark Petty Tekan is the newest Warlock legendary, guys. 5 mana 4/4 Battle Cry for the rest of the game. Your Leckies are 4/4. So suddenly, We got the Quest Rogue back, guys, here in Warlock, and you can just play it here for 5 mana. Every Lecky is not a 1/1, but is a 4/4. So, the first thought is, of course, that this card is, like, completely busted, as, like, the mechanic is super strong. But the most important thing is like, also to look at how many Leckies can you get. Because it's only the Leckies. It's not other cards. It's the Leckies that are 4/4. There was already the card that, like, whenever you kill a minion, the 2 mana 2/2, that is like summoning 2 Leckies in your hand. What is like in total 4 Leckies you can have with that card. Because you can play it as a 2-up. Then you have Evil Cabaret. What is 6 cards for Warlock that can be Lecky. And now you can also play the Sinister Deal. What can make you up to having 8 Leckies. So it is not like every card is going to be 4 mana or it's going to be a 1 mana 4/4. There will be like maximum 8 cards that you can synergy with it. Of course, there are some synergies, let's say Barista and up, that you can also go with. But just to give you a bit of like example on how much there is available for Warlock. I mean, the card is obviously very strong. And you probably can survive the early game to then in the late game make your Leckies that strong. You can maybe even like do like Dreams with 1 Lecky and Glinda I was thinking of. Or it can even be like better. But yeah, like the card is pretty strong, I think. I'm just not sure if it can like fit good enough. But I will rate it 4 stars this. And now going to discover a Lecky. How good is discovering a Lecky? Like, you don't want to play this, I think, if it would not have synergy. But it kind of has synergy, of course, with the 4/4. And also, it has very good synergy with... Where is the card? Evil Recruiter. 3 mana 3/3. Destroy a friendly Lecky to summon a 5/5 demon. What? 3 mana 8/8. When I was looking at this card, I was like, what is this? Because it doesn't kill itself. No, it just destroys the Lecky to make it a 5/5. So now you can discover a Lecky turn 1. And at turn 3 with the coin, or otherwise at turn 4, you just make a 3 mana 8/8. Or a 4 mana 8/8. 4 mana 8/8 is better example because of the Lecky. Of course, it doesn't really work well with the quest or with the like legendary we just saw, but just having this like as a very strong potential, like god, this card is strong. I think this card is actually better than the Lecky quest. I keep calling it quest even though it isn't a quest. This card is so good. 4.5 stars, guys. You know what? 5 stars. This card is busted. I'm rating it 5 stars. The only problem can be that it is a Warlock card. And that Warlock just is gonna not be good. And then you won't see it. But damn, this card is good. And dude, towards this card, I'm rating it like 2 stars. Because I don't think this card is that great, but it just has very good synergy now with the 3 mana card we just saw. So there you go. Okay, we kind of like went a little bit all around. This I didn't mention yet. Plague of Flames. Destroy all your minions. For each one, destroy a random enemy minion. Very interesting card, as it is a very strong removal. If you can make it work for very little cost. Because it only costs 1 mana, guys. It's not like 4 mana, 6 mana, 5 mana. No, it's 1. It's just 1. Destroy all your minions. For each one, destroy a random enemy minion. So it's obviously very good in a like more token deck or maybe a Zui deck. And don't forget that you can also play a little bit with this. Let's say you have like 2 minions on the board and your opponent has 3, but they are stronger. You can maybe make 1 value trade, then play the Plague of Flames, And the board kind of starts empty again for 1 mana. It's obviously a card that kind of has to be working in Zoo, but also has great synergies with Lekkies. In the late game, you play like, I don't know, like you play 2 Lekkies and you remove maybe one and then you can like remove another minion. So very nice. I really like this card. It fits very well and it's just super cheap. Hyreek, the bad synergy. Okay, let's not go too far, okay? I think this is... I rate this card 4 stars. I really like this card. It's very, very strong. I need some water, guys. Next up here, Rift Cleaver, 6 mana, 7/5, Battle Cry, destroy a minion, your hero takes damage equal to its health. Big boy Rift Cleaver coming in here, guys, with being destroying a minion in translation for health. I really like this card. I think this card is very good. It kind of is like an Foul Plant Slayer a bit, with like the destroy a minion, but then like instead of needing a combo, you kind of can play this and you get a much better body, but you take like damage in return. But cards like this are good in like mid-range deck. This is a card that can swing. If the game goes very even, you can suddenly remove your opponent's minion and you just have a very good minion yourself on the board for 6 mana. What's a reasonable cost? Also, sometimes you can just play it on annoying minions. Like let's say a Zilliax. Somebody plays Zilliax, what is so annoying to deal with for you. And now you play this on Zilliax and you only take 2 damage. And you remove it. The only backside on this is that Warlock is having a little heal issue. Warlock doesn't have that great healing cards. The classic set or the set we are having is not that good in healing. So these cards are very good, but there is a limit to what we can do with these cards and keep taking damage. But hey, I think Warlock is going to be a little bit of a YOLO class a bit, where you just play with your lives and you just hope it's good enough, because I think it can work very well with this. Like let's say you have now this on turn 3, then you play this at 4 and you follow it up with coin this on 5 or on 6 and you keep taking damage, but there is also this very proactive approach. And you just... It's a bit of a Sudoku lock. But I think it has like, it now gets like tools where it gets reasonable to go for. So I like this card. I rate it 4 stars. Expired Merchant, Battlecry, discard your highest cost card at death value, add 2 copies of it to your hand. Interesting card. This is obviously not a card you want to play with too many expensive minions. You want to play it with more cheaper minions. Like you don't want to do this and get like, let's say double Ravam or like something late game, or double Gul'dan, no, or double Giants. Maybe double Giant actually. This with Mounted Giant is actually pretty interesting. But you can also do this like, let's say with Flame Imp. Discard the Flame Imp, get 2 Flame Imps and go fast. There's a lot of like interesting ways. Lekkies are good examples as well where it works. Of course it's a death rattle, so this card needs to die first, what is a little bit of a weaker. Maybe Sea Giant is actually a good example as well in like a Zoo deck. There are like cool things you can do with this. I'll rate it 3 stars. I think you have to play with this like mechanic a little bit, but there should be reasonable ways you can do this with, especially in Zoo, where you either go Sea Giant style or you just do it on 3/4 drops, not too expensive. And here we got 4 mana, Embalming. Destroy a minion, shuffle 3 worthless imps into your deck. When I first fought this card, I was thinking that this shuffles 3 worthless imps in my opponent deck. But then I realized it was in my own deck. So it's a 4 mana removal, what is like kind of comparable to Hex and like Polymorph in a way. But then you have like a little bit of a negative effect where you shuffle 3 worthless imps into your deck. We don't really have synergies where it gets like beneficial that you shuffle 3 worthless imps where these things become any good or anything. It's just negative. So I really don't like this card. I think it is more, they should call this card Imp Malding, guys. What do you think? I will rate it 1 star. I don't like this card. It's not good. And Warlock has decent removals, so you don't need to play this card. And here, the last card actually, the quest for Warlock. Quest, draw 20 cards. Reward Tomb of Origin. Is the quest here for Warlock. Draw 20, what is obviously a kind of hard mechanic to make work. But the way that it obviously has like a lot of synergy with is with Plot Twist. That is like the way you gotta make it work. And then the hero power, draw a card. It costs 0 as the reward. I am not very sure where I gotta place this card, because obviously you can draw a lot of cards with, like, you generally already draw some cards, what already helps, and then you have like Plot Twist where it makes it work. And the mechanic of like a hero power, draw a card, it costs 0, and also not costing you life, it's kind of nice. I have been playing Plot Twist a little bit myself the last days. And what very often was happening is that at some point my cards became a bit too expensive. So I see a lot of upside on this hero power. It still is a little bit hard though to draw 20. So even if you Plot Twist, it's still a quest that you complete very late. I want to make this card work, guys, but I am just not sure. Because you play it at turn 1, then it starts. I will rate it 2.5 stars, just because I have hope for it, guys. I want to make it work. I want to make it work. So, what you think of Warlock, guys? Is Warlock getting back? Are we gonna have 9 classes in Hearthstone? I think there is some solid stuff. Mainly for mid-range Warlock. Zoo Warlock, mid-range Warlock. This card is pretty good. This card is nice. This card is very good. This card might be okay. Depends on how you can play with lives. You think no, chat? I actually think yes. I think the package of the Seized Vulture, Evil Recruiter, maybe some Lackeys, for a Zooey mid-range Warlock can be very good. We'll see. And next up, guys, Warrior. I think I'm going kind of fast over Warrior. Because, I don't know, Warrior just has one direction, and that's control at the moment, I feel. 6 mana, 6/7, Bull the Fist Ogre. Whenever you hero attacks, gain 5 armor. Can we get an F, guys, for Bull the Fist Ogre? Aww, power creep. I mean, this card is good. Will Warrior play it? No. I mean, whenever you hear... No. Like, that's every card I have with Warrior that is not, like, in the archetype of, like, Control Warrior or Bomb Warrior. Rated 2.5 stars. Tombarden, 8 mana, 3/6. Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion. What is kind of like a chain gang. But with Taunt as well. And 8 mana, 3/6. So kind of summoning 2 Fan Creepers. Also, very relevant for this card, guys. This card is a mech. Damn, who is sad that this card is a mech? Because you can now get this card from Omega Assembly and from, like, the delivery drone. Like, I don't think a Warrior is going to really play this card. But I think it's going to be a really influential card on delivery drone. and just on the mechs in general, where this card gets suddenly rush. And also 8 mana, get 2 Fan Creepers is pretty good. I will rate it, it's very comparable to the Evil Twin. 3.5 stars. 3 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks, add a Lackey to your hand. Okay card, but doesn't really fit like Warrior that well, I think. Like Warrior doesn't really care about Lackeys, they have better value cards. No, Warrior is not playing this. 1 star. Hack the system. I attack 5 times with your hero. Is the Warrior quest. Summon a 5/4/3 golem. After your hero attacks, refresh it. What kind of means that you can make like multiple 4/3s if you have enough ways to attack. I just don't believe in Weapon Warrior. I mean, you can make mid-range Warrior. I hope it will be a deck, so we don't have to face boring Warrior all the time. But every time I'm looking at this, guys, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should just play Dr. Boom. I'm still secretly hoping for a nerf to Dr. Boom. It's okay, but every time I'm just looking at these cards, guys, I know what Warrior has, and then I'm like, it doesn't really work. I will rate it 2.5 stars. 5 mana, destroy all damaged minions. Plague of Wrath. Actually, a very reasonable removal maybe for Warrior. Because it's kind of like a brawl, but then like with like removing everything. You might just want to play this card as a one-off in combination with Wildwind or just with Warpath already. And you can just remove the Wool Board. But it's like very good for Warrior also against like the Conjurer Mage, this card maybe. Where instead of brawling, you guarantee everything to die. I rate it 3 stars. I think this might be a one-off in Warrior decks. It's not going to be a 2-off. Frigid Flunky. 2 mana 2/2. Taunt, Battlecry, discover a taunt minion. Stonehill Defender is back, boys. This card's very good. It's such an annoying card, and then it discovers another one. It can also discover itself, but this is like a class card, so there's actually high chances on just keep discovering itself. Very comparable to Stonehill Defender. I rate it 4 stars. I like this. This card is good, guys. I'm not sure if you play it in a Town Warrior or just in every Warrior. Then Into the Fray, give all town minions in your hand +2/+2, but it's very cheap. 1 mana +2/+2 to all town minions in your hand. I think I rated 2 stars because I just don't see the archetype working much. And I don't think Warrior wants to play relying so much on just taunts, but we'll see. Okay, this is actually a card I'm excited about for Warrior. Bloodswarm Mercury, 3 mana 3/3. Choose a damaged friendly minion, summon a copy of it. Well, it's kind of cool because you can kind of like make like a lot of combos as well with this deck. What you can do, guys, is you can use this as like a way to, let's say, play Leroy, inner rage the Leroy, rampage the Leroy, and then play Bloodswarm Mercury on the Leroy, and then you deal, what is it, 22 damage with a Leroy. Also, you can just play this card after you go Armorsmith on turn 2. You give it Cruel, and you like, let's say, inner rage it, and then you just copy the Armorsmith, and then you have at turn 3, 3 3/3s on the board. Pretty good. This card is a very high power level. Because it's kind of like an... It kind of has a faceless effect. And also it being itself a 3 mana 3/3. So you get like a faceless plus 3 mana 3/3. It's very strong. 4 stars. Maybe even higher. And I like that it doesn't really fit into like the current warrior decks. And Armal, Gedio, another taunt here, guys, for warriors. 6 mana, 4/7 taunt. At the end of the turn, give all taunt minions in your hand +2/+2. First, it's already a 6 mana, 4/7 taunt. Well, it's pretty decent, right? 6 mana. It's more like I would expect this card to be costing 7. If you compare this card to like... This card is very comparable to Sunwalker. Because it's 6 mana 4/7, where Sunwalker is 6 mana 4/5 with Divine Shield, but it's not too far off 2 health. But then you have like a bonus effect at the end of the turn, give all town minions +2/+2. It's also kind of a must kill. Also for control, it's kind of a must kill, because if you let it stay, the end of the turn keeps going, so pretty good. Especially on cards that copy itself, like the card we just saw. Yeah, I will rate this 3.5 stars. I'm not convinced Town Warrior will work, but this card is good. And here, the Reborn minion. 4 mana 3/2 with Rush, Reborn. What kind of means that you kind of get a 4 mana 3/2 Rush and a 4 mana 3/1 Rush for 4 mana. Well, it's very nice. It's pretty cheap for getting 2 minions with Rush. It kind of trades 2 things away. It might just be a 2-for-1 card quite often. Especially in Warrior that kind of wants to be reactive. This is kind of good. You probably will play this in Warrior, guys. Instead of like in the current Warrior deck. Where you play this as an extra Rush minion, or it like maybe cuts the Militia Commander. Is this better or worse than Militia Commander? What do you think? Better or worse than Militia? Kind of close, right? It has like better and worse spots. Probably better for the Warrior archetype. I rate it 4 stars. And that were it, guys. That were all the class cards. Let's take a little look at neutral cards. I don't want to go over all the neutral cards, guys, but there are some I want to talk about, or just one in specific. And that's this one. That is this one. Zephyrus the Great. 2 mana, 3/2. If your deck has no duplicates, wish the perfect card. I am so excited about this card, guys. I am so excited for this one. Yesterday, they played this a little bit on the reveal stream as well. And to give you a little bit on insight on wish you the perfect card, what Zephyrus is doing, it's kind of working as a Blizzard Owl that is kind of like looking at the board state, looking at the hands or hand size, looking at the decks, and then gives you 3 options that in his opinion are the best cards you can play on that turn. To give you a bit of an example, if you play Zephyrus on turn 2, it very likely gives you the option that you gonna get a card that is Animal Companion, Wildgrowth, or Brightwing. That is what it was happening yesterday, where you get like an option to make a very good turn 3, and maybe ramp card for turn 3, or a good value card for turn 3 to follow up your curve. Once you are looking very behind on the board state at turn, like in the late game, it very likely is able to give you like, let's say, a Brawl or a Flame Strike, the very good removal cards. And so it has like a lot of synergies. A good example what also is like, let's say your opponent has a Doomsayer and you play this, it very likely will give you a Great Alchemist or maybe a Silence as options. So to give you a bit of insight about this card, it has like some very specific answers. I'm very interested to see, of course, where the perfect answer will not be the perfect answer, and there might have been better answers, but that's like the cool thing also a bit about this card. But I really, really, really like this card. Where we're gonna see what are the perfect cards, and if it also is the case for every situation, but also just the card is of course very strong itself. So I like this card a lot, guys, and I'm gonna make this card a 5-star card. I like this card. I like this card a lot. We're gonna see this card a lot of played because the card is so cool. But very often, if the card works like it should work, it's very often like, oh no, my opponent played the perfect card, or my opponent had the perfect card against me. Because you just make the perfect card. I like it. I like it. Alright guys, that was kind of the review. Did you guys like the review? Do you like me doing these review kind of things, guys, once the expansion is coming out? We also did most of the neutrals already, guys, so I'm not going to go over all these neutrals. Should I do this every time, guys, when a new expansion comes out? Because I did a long one. I did 3 hours. We talked for 3 hours. So if I can understand you're like, was a little long, but I hope you guys like it. I really like to do these specific set reviews.